Hello! Welcome to Girls Run These Worlds. My name is Ella Watts. I am going to be your GM today. I am GMing a game of Upriver Downriver. This is the third session in our campaign. If you've missed the previous sessions, you can watch them back on Twitch and on YouTube. Girls Run These Worlds has a YouTube channel. It's great. You can watch stuff on demand. Very fun. I like binging series over there. Anyway, Upriver Downriver is a game that I wrote. It is published by MacGuffin & Company, which is a small indie publishing company based here in the UK. It is a high fantasy kind of world, and it's worth noting that it addresses some reasonably heavy themes. Whenever I try to tell people what the tone to expect is, I say Princess Mononoke or Lord of the Rings, which is to say it's a high fantasy world that has themes of war, death, environmental destruction, things like grief. Coming into this game, please be aware that those are things that might be discussed. They're themes that we're going to be handling. In addition to war, death, and grief, there's also discussion of fantasy discrimination. We will make every effort to address these themes with compassion and respect, but please be kind to yourself and only watch if you feel able to do so. Okay, I can't remember if I said my pronouns, so I'm going to say my pronouns are she, her. As a heads up for today's stream, a couple of our cast members, including myself, are not feeling our best. I personally am chronically ill and I've got a bit of a pain moment, so I might occasionally be a bit distracted. Don't worry, still going to have a great stream. We've got an amazing cast here and I'm very excited for them all to take the story away and do magical things with it. Alrighty, so I would love it if my cast could please introduce themselves, starting with Lily. Please could you give us your name, pronouns, your character's name, pronouns, role, path, and origin. Basically who they are. And what kind of boat do you like?
Okay. So my name is Lily. My pronouns are she, they. I am playing Sela, who is a halfling gunner. Strength, path of strength. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna blank on this. Why isn't that like things switching fast enough for me to see on the screen what it's Yes, Sela. She is halfling gunner, path of strength. She uses she, they pronouns, same as I do. And my favorite boat, I mean, I guess I'd have to say like a cruise ship, because the truth is I get terribly motion sick on any kind of other boat, which I learned when I went on my uncle's fishing boat once.
Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
Okay, moving on. Next up, we've got Amber.
Hello, my name is Amber. My pronouns are they, them. Today I'll be playing Tarai. They are an elf first mate, and their pronouns are also they, them, following the path of the Wheel of Fortune. And favorite boat? Okay. I enjoy a good tall ship. Like, I think that's there's a tall ship that you can see from the train as I'm going into Glasgow, and pass it, and I'm always like, oh, it's a good boat. So yeah, tall ships for me, I think.
There's no right answer to this question, but that was the right answer.
I felt on the spot.
Okay, next up, Zania.
Hi, so I'm Zania. They, them. I play Captain Faye Halfmoon, who is she, her, and they, them. As I said, she's a captain. She doesn't have a path currently, so like, you know, son, if you want to take me back, like I'm right here. But she is a river folk, and my favorite boat, I don't know if it's pronounced this way, schooners. You know, the ones with like the really tall sails. Yeah, I like those a lot.
We love a schooner. Classic, real classic.
In Canada.
Hey, listen. Oh no, I'm just getting into my boat mood. No.
I mean,
Let's go.
this was always going to happen at least once during this campaign.
When the boat does this. Oh.
I am deeply and sincerely autistic, but I love boats so much. I wrote a game about them. Anyway, Katie, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Katie. They, she pronouns. I'm playing Joven, Jove to his friends. He, him pronouns for him. He's an old man cook. And he's following the path of the world, which is all about healing from past doings. And what else am I supposed to say?
Favorite boat?
Oh, my favorite boat? Okay. So I lived in London for a little bit, and I had this fantasy of living on one of those river boats that is not the same kind of river boat as the ones that we have, but the houseboats on the river. I guess they're also river boats, but anyway, people have converted them into houses, and they're too small for my big, huge body. But it was cool. I went to a show on one, and it was radical, and I just want to live on a river boat and sail the canals until we reach the sea, and then eventually die.
Deeply valid. Also, hey, in this game, the sea is death.
I know, that's why I said it. It was thematic. I'm not just depressing.
I got that reference.
Less
It made me so happy. Cool. I love that. Fun fact: my great uncles were some of the people who dug the canals in England.
Really?
Okay,
Such a rich boat history.
I
Can we
love
do
boats.
like a bonus episode, if you will, where you just tell us about boats and your weird boat
Boatus
history?
episode.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I love boats. I'm not going to
Yeah,
talk about boats.
I will just sit here like this and ask you questions about boats for an hour and a half. Like,
Okay.
All aboard with Ella.
So calm and normal right now about boats.
yes.
Last but not least, Shaik, please could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sharik, and my pronouns are also she, her, and my character's name is Aldred Sprigmore, and her pronouns are also she, her, just a bunch of women, both of us, and my role is the Doctor, and I'm the Doctor of Death, and I'm also a halfling, which is cool, but I'm tall for halfling, just to be short.
Taller than the other half, for sure.
By like
I-
2 inches.
And my favorite boat is a pretty one that's golden and maybe has some pink on it.
I love that, and you know what? That's so valid of you. Honestly, anyone can paint a boat any color, and I think we should have more golden pink boats in the sea.
I did not realize that so many people know types of boats.
In this game,
3 out of
in
6
this
people know
game,
types of
Well, we
boats.
expected you to know. We didn't expect everyone else to know.
you were supposed to be here. I did not kidnap you and make you be here.
We can leave anytime we want.
It's not my fault. I'm not much of a river boy, but I am an ocean boy. So
Oh yes, we love Ocean Boys. Okay, focusing up. Thank you everyone for your introductions. The last thing I'm going to say before we get started in the game proper is there's a giveaway of Upriver Downriver. We are giving away the PDF of the game. So if you would like to enter to win that PDF so you can play this game yourself and play it with your friends, then you can enter the giveaway in the chat. Please do. We've got one for each session of the stream, so each stream we're giving a copy away. Yeah, hopefully you will get that and enjoy it. So, game time. Story time. Are we all ready to tell a story?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, we're going to brace ourselves a bit. So, last session was a little bit wild. The crew of the Prestige found their way to the Floating Gardens. After acquiring a piece of the map to the Crystal Nets from Belle Crane and watching the Pirate Queen, Julie Diamantis, dueling, which was just a full gay meltdown. It was very funny to watch for me. They were surprised by an attack from a human Imperial ship called the Treasure. The captain of the Treasure, Nathaniel Chanticleer, claims he'll be the first to find the source and claim it for the human empire in the name of Crown Nereus and his child, Crown Laume. After having kind of made that statement, Nathaniel opened fire on the Floating Gardens and things went south real fast. In the kind of destruction and chaos, Aldred Sprigmore overcame her previous trauma and fear of kind of being unable to save the people around her in this kind of disaster, and actually saved many lives, healing the wounded where she could. She was aided in that by our first mate, Tarai. Meanwhile, Captain Faye Halfmoon pursued an Imperial spy, pointed out to her by Aldred. However, unfortunately, the spy outwitted Faye and murdered her, specifically shot her in the back of the head, not wanting to be seen by her. After a painful day of waiting, Faye returned to the Prestige as a ghost, now with the Curse of the Sun, which is the path that she follows. It means that the river god and its face that she knows has turned away from her for now. The Curse of the Sun means that anyone who looks at you or encounters you is overcome by indescribable melancholy, until or unless you are able to share an old grief or wound or pain that you've been hiding from the rest of your crew. This means, but before you left the Floating Gardens, Faye communed with the river and did receive the Blessing of Judgment, which is the blessing of, is the face of the Floating Gardens. The Blessing of Judgment means that you will have an opportunity to forgive an old wrong in the near future.
Well,
Aldred and Tarai also communed with the river. Tarai gained the blessing of the star, which is the same blessing that Jove has. So the star is really watching your journey, which makes me happy. And what that means is that they have an extra communion with the river, and they can both, Jove and Tarai, choose to invoke that communion at any point of their choosing. They don't have to wait for the end of the session. They can call on it when they want to. Aldred gained the blessing of the Empress, giving her superhuman hearing. Yes. And then the crew decided to navigate onwards. They decided to go to the Buried River. We very nearly didn't make the roll, but thanks to Sela's remembered presence, we were able to just about navigate successfully to the Buried River. And where we left off was Tarai helming the ship, because Faye Halfmoon can no longer helm the ship, because the ghost cannot helm the ship. So Tarai was helming instead, and as Tarai was helming, the piece of the crystal map that was in their pocket sort of started to drag them and the ship and the crew and everyone down under the water, and the last thing we saw was the ship being consumed by the waves. Now, Casey and Lily weren't with us last session, and we have two different reasons for kind of where their characters were. Lily had Sela visiting her family who were near Harton from episode 1, and kind of doing a bit of a kind of reunion after having succeeded with this massive victory at Bravery Day at Courage Falls. And Joven, we said that he had kind of experimented with his leg brace. He'd been given by Bob Greenfellow in Harton, but the experiment had left him in severe, debilitating pain. And in order to help him, Aldred had given him an anesthetic, which had put him into a drug-induced heavy sleep, which meant that he was left on the ship. Plus, the crew
Best
went
sleep he's ever
down.
had, too. Waking up like, oh yeah, what a great sleep.
Meanwhile, everything's on fire.
Oh, this is fine.
Yep.
Just another day on the Prestige.
We have another blessing that isn't resolved, which is that Sela also has the blessing of the Empress. It's interesting to me that the Empress and the Star specifically are watching this crew. I did. I really did. It's 22 cards and there's 5 of you.
Fair.
I can count. But Lily, do you have any thoughts about which sense you'd like Sela to have enhanced? It can be touch, taste, hearing, sight, smell.
I think sight, I feel like, is probably going to be a good one to choose.
Yeah, 1000%. And I think we are definitely going to factor that into your archery rolls, because
I was gonna say, you got a bow and arrow.
roll in for an archer is a good thing to have.
Yeah.
So I love that. So before we get into our session proper, Lily and I discussed off stream the fact that when you swear a magical oath to the river that you are going to reach your destination, you must not leave your ship. If you leave your ship for more than 72 hours, your oath kills you. It drowns you on land, and it returns you as a ghost to your ship, binding you to it until or unless you either fulfill your oath or break it.
How does it drown you on land?
Magic. It just fills you up with water. It fills
Okay,
up
I
your
was like,
lungs
just
with
like a
water.
big bubble appears on your head, but it's filled with
No,
water. Like
Your lungs fill with water. Your lungs
oh,
fill
that's
with river water.
way cooler. I love that.
But
I thought it was just going to be
metal.
asphyxiation, but that's cool.
No, that's metal. I love it. Let's go. Let's do some water bending.
1000% big old water bending. Like a big thing about the mechanics of magic in the world of Upriver Downriver is that all magic is tied to the water itself. When you sail out into the sea, you eventually get to a point where the magic doesn't hold anymore because it's diffused into the ocean and you are in a different magic. But yes. So Lily and I discussed this, and we discussed that what it means is that if Sela doesn't get back in time to her ship, she will die and be brought back as a ghost. And we agreed that the way we would resolve this would be a flip of the coin. Now, Lily, this coin has two sides. One is a ship, and one is a wheel.
Did you make this for this?
Right.
I had it already because I'm obsessed with both.
Because you're a nerd. Right? Okay.
I love it.
That was said with no judgment. I was like, right, sorry, you're a nerd.
You can't just go and call the DM a nerd. Have you seen what happens when you start?
I'm sorry.
At some point, you should add this as like a physical thing as part of the when you buy the book.
Yeah, I love it.
I deal with it.
I love this kind of stuff. But okay, so ship or wheel?
Oh God.
I think this is what I think. Considering that we're doing that this is also based on tarot, I'm gonna go with the wheel, as in the wheel of fortune. I hope it will serve me.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
For the
God.
viewers at home, I'm not the world's most graceful woman. There's a strong chance I'm going to throw this coin on the floor, but we're going to see what I do.
That I am watching very carefully. Please throw this coin.
Come on, be okay. Just be okay. I need you to be okay, man.
Oh no!
I have to go get something.
God. Okay. Wait for Katie to return. Enjoy Katie's
Well, somebody
ride.
died, but I guess it was Joven instead.
Yeah. it's
Um,
Okay, I'm ready.
what just
What did you
changed
get?
it?
Wait, what is that?
My Ghostbusters shirt.
That was
I
so
don't agree,
quick.
no
Oh my
ghosts.
God.
You were
Okay.
so right.
That was beautiful. Okay,
Let's
so
go.
Sela, you get so close. You get so painfully close. You actually get to the floating gardens. It's not that hard to get onto the glass road, especially from Harton. You're not that far away. It's a very busy trade route. And you know, you're able to get to the floating gardens. There's a whole side adventure that we'll never see, which is how Sela like makes friends with a bunch of pirates, hitches a ride onto the floating gardens, and then the chaos happens and the attack happens, and you are in the middle of it, and you just don't know where your crew is. And there's a moment in this time where you get injured and you pass out. And when you wake up, you're back on your ship. But before we bring you back into the mortal world, something happens while you sleep, while you think you're sleeping. You find yourself in an infinite river full of stars. It goes on forever. The water is clear as glass and cool against your skin. There is nothing below you and nothing above, except for ever-extending darkness and water. A figure walks on the water, almost, towards you, not swimming, walking. They are tall and androgynous and robed, and they are wearing a mask. Good lord. Hang on a sec.
What do you? Oh.
That
Sorry.
sounds bad.
Ella, you're scaring me.
Ella, the sauce. It's okay.
Ella, last time you said that, something bad happened. Ella, what did you do?
Fuck me. Well, you asked for the wheel. You get the curse of the Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
At a random point determined by the river, you will critically fail when you would have succeeded.
Okay.
So the
Now
way
we're
that
ghosts.
How random? What decides the random?
I
You know.
I do.
No.
Also, it won't be random. It'll be narratively interesting.
Okay,
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly. It'll be
Oh,
narratively
you know.
interesting for me, but it'll be random for your character. But
Oh.
the way this manifests is that this figure, it has this face, this mask, and the mask is a wheel, and the wheel is spinning, and within the wheel are other wheels and other wheels and other wheels. They're all ship's wheels. They are all spinning in different directions at different speeds. It's dizzying to look at. And for a long moment, it looks at you, and then all of the wheels come to like a juddering halt, and they all just kind of stop, like set in one place like a compass. And then darkness follows you. You wake up on your ship. Now, you probably wake up in your quarters. It will become fairly immediately obvious to you that you are dead, because you are not as substantial as you once were. You can see through yourself, you're translucent. Your body is nowhere to be felt. You don't feel warm anymore. You never noticed that you could hear your heartbeat or your breathing, but now they're not there, everything feels uncomfortably quiet. You are in the belly of the ship, and honestly, in the belly of the ship, I don't think that you even necessarily know that you're underwater. You just wake up, and magically, somehow, after passing out, after being hit in the head by something during that attack, you found your way home. What do you do, Seela?
I mean, I'm gonna, because Seela doesn't know. Obviously, she's gonna look for the captain.
Cool. Okay.
And we're gonna go, hey!
Captain, I have something to tell.
The Spider-Man meme, like.
I feel like I
Everybody a
need to.
ghost?
I need to warn us all that, like, if all crew members become ghosts, then you fail. You cannot fulfill your oath because no one can helm the ship. Your ship becomes a ghost ship, and you are cursed forever to wander up and down the river without ever finding your destination or finding peace. So be aware of
This is
that.
the penultimate episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
Do I lose my ability to be gunner?
You do not lose your ability to be gunner. It's only specifically doing navigation rolls. So Faye can still do a bunch of other stuff on the ship. She just can't help. It's very sad. So before we resolve that, you looking for the captain and us seeing where your ship is, because the last time we saw it, it was sinking. Jove.
Hey.
You are waking up. You can hear the ship creaking around you, and there is something different to the sound than what you're used to. It doesn't sound like... Yeah, there's no seabirds. There isn't, like, it's a kind of more muffled, you know that very distinct underwater sound where everything, like, the high-end frequencies kind of get cut off and you end up in that kind of, like, whoom kind of
Feels
sound?
like being in a womb.
Yeah, exactly.
What
So
a scary
and I think
womb.
a real scary room. Like, the problem with a river of infinite depth is that it can be real scary. It's not of infinite depth, it's just real deep. But what I will say is, yeah, Jove knows this, and I think especially as someone following the path of the world, Jove knows that, like, his situation in reality has changed, that he is not in a normal place anymore, and he's not where he was before. What does he do?
I think he definitely, like, wakes up and, like, stretches out and, like, you know, massages some of the kinks out of his leg and, like, notices that it feels better. I think he has like a room off of the kitchen kind of thing. Like, I think he would stay close to the hearth because you got to keep, like, the fires going and stuff. And so he's just kind of wander out there looking for his pipe and just, like, look over at the little porthole and see a fish swim by and just be like, huh. Okay. Also, don't be alarmed. I've been working on Jove's voice. It's going to be different this time.
Very excited.
So, yeah, I wasn't happy with it, so I workshopped it some more. And
wow,
so,
Jove, that tea's really kicking in for you. Good, congratulations.
Yeah, a witch kissed me,
Jove.
and I was cursed to talk away. But
Put in that potion.
Hey man, that's what I want to know.
Magical testosterone is absolutely canonical in this world.
Does magical testosterone give you a southern accent? Because that's what happened to me.
Everyone who will ever play Upriver Downriver from now on, if you're playing a trans man, you gotta play with a southern accent. I'm sorry.
It gets more and
Damn
more
it, now I have to play again.
Texan the more you play, you know?
Okay.
Testosterone. Boom. Got it.
I need to get me some of that.
So you kind of notice this weirdness, and I promise I'm going to come back to everyone and let you all kind of resolve this, but I just want to make sure that we're all in the same place. So Tarai is seeing the sinking happening. They are at the helm of the ship, but if you remember from last session, Amber, what I said was that Tarai didn't feel able to pull their hands away from the wheel. Faye and Aldred, you definitely hear the crashing of water coming in on the deck and, like, the sound of your ship sinking. If or when you all come onto the deck, I can tell you what you see. Would you like to come onto the deck, or Seela and Jove, would you prefer to stay below deck a little longer?
Oh no, I'm absolutely coming on deck.
Yeah, I think like he would take a second to like relight the fire because he's been asleep for a bit, and like make sure that's because you got to keep the stew at like a certain temperature or it goes bad. So you just have to like make sure it stays roiling, or else you can't have that soup just sitting there for a few days. So he's gonna make sure that like that's all good, and yeah, sort of like I think cautiously go up towards the area that isn't enclosed if they're underwater, but you know, just kind of cautiously make their way up the ramp.
Who I'm interested, give me a swords roll, Lily, Jove, Faye, and Aldred. So d12 plus your swords.
I forgot to grab my dice early. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, that's my favorite part. Here.
Oh, is this just like a regular swords, or do I get to add any of my abilities?
Remind me which abilities you're talking about.
So I have the
You're rolling to protect others. That is not relevant at this point.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Okay. Cool.
Alrighty.
I got a 14.
14.
I got a 6.
6.
Um,
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
What am I rolling?
One sec. Lily, what did
sorry.
you say?
I said I have a 12.
12. Okay, and Casey, d12 plus your swords, please.
Okay, so like +1. I'm really good at everything. 7.
Cool. Okay. So you're actually not the last onto the deck. That is Aldred with a 6. And Faye, that was a 14, wasn't it? So boop, 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 boop. So the first person on deck is Faye. Now, Tarai, how are you handling the fact that you are glued to a ship that is currently sinking?
About as well as I think anyone would cope with, being stuck to the helm of a ship that's currently underwater. Can they sort of feel that it's the map that's doing this?
Yeah, they can definitely feel this kind of like strange gravity, like kind of like almost like a gravity well in their pocket, just pulling the whole ship down. Like they can feel the weight of it.
I think a certain what initially was panic and fear, as that sort of moment of being not underwater to being underwater, I think is kind of given way because everyone's still fine except for the ghosts, but everyone is Tarai is still breathing. Tarai is not dead, despite the fact that the ship appears to continuously be going down. So I think now it's more confusion and kind of a sense of like where are we going?
Faye,
no.
you get up to see that your ship is underwater, and quite some way underwater. By this point, I'm going to say you're about half a mile underwater. You are impossibly deep. This is the kind of depth where if you go outside, you're going to be more worried about the water crushing you than you are about drowning. And it is just dark. It is just dark as far as you can see, like a starless night. You cannot see the sky. You cannot see where the water ends. You cannot tell which way is up or down.
Oh boy. Can we even talk to each other? Because this is hilarious.
I guess if we're underwater, are we like, oh no, there's...
I mean, I might be able to talk, but you might be able to go.
I mean, part of me wants to change the whole physics of this just so I can set up that joke, but no. What you notice, the next thing you notice is that the deck of the ship is dry. There seems to be a kind of bubble of air all around the kind of exposed parts of the ship. You are being protected somehow as you go down. You also all notice that you haven't all been crushed to death by the weight of the water, which is another sign that this is not a normal sinking.
Are our ears popping though?
Your ears are popping. I love that detail. Thank you. Yeah, Faye, you kind of initially it's like, where are we and how did this happen? And then it's like, okay, we're fine, but also, how did this happen? What's going on?
Oh, can I say something to Tudor then?
Yeah.
So I think they come up on the deck. They're like, they're looking around, and then they just kind of slowly look at you and go, okay, I know I'm a little bit dead, and this possibly is your ship now, but I would prefer the ship to be up. Why are we down? Why are we so down? What is
I'm
going
sorry,
on?
you think I'm doing this on purpose?
You're the one
The elf that is scared of swimming in deep water, you really think I'm doing this on purpose?
Part of me is like, oh, I'm so
Can you
proud
not
of you because you're
backseat
facing
captain
your
me, you
fears.
big dead bastard? Just...
She just looks at you, she's like, oh, what you see?
I'm sorry, that was too much. I'm under a lot of stress right now. I'm sorry.
Was too soon. That was too
I'm sorry.
soon.
I'm
Everything
sorry.
happened so
I'm
fast.
sorry. There's a lot. Look, this is a big day. A lot has happened. Okay, and we appear to still be underwater and still going. I'm sorry. That was mean, but I'm figuring this out right now. So
you are. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Just as you de-escalate, Sela gets on deck, and Sela is very visibly dead and a ghost. And Sela, you see that the captain is very visibly dead and a ghost. What you do? What you say?
Wow, must have been a hard 72 hours.
Oh, you're back. Oh, you're back. Oh,
what did I miss? I mean, I know what you guys missed, me dying, but...
Yeah, I'm sorry we missed that. If it makes you feel better, a lot of people missed when I died too. Oh, we need to have a meeting. We really need to have a meeting. This is too much.
So I think at this point,
I guess I always wished to be a little bit incorporeal, but this wasn't really how I wanted to get there.
So I think Tarai is just going to look over, see Sailor, and just kind of have this moment of, oh no.
And what I will add is that, like, mixed in with the humor and awkwardness and, oh, you wore that dress, I wore that dress kind of thing that's going on here. Sela, when you look at Faye has always followed the path of the sun the whole time you've known them. And when you look at her now, she... Like, it used to be that when you looked at her, you felt warm. Like, you couldn't really describe it. It wasn't always easy to tell whether it was just because you liked them or if it was because of the path that she followed. But now, when you look at her, you just feel so cold and so sad. And, like, everything you've ever grieved, like the longing that you had to be part of a slightly different culture to the one you were raised in, like the way that you felt like an outcast, the way you felt rejected, the way you felt when your village kicked you out, all of those feelings of sadness just overcome you. The longer you are near Faye, the deeper the sadness gets. And whilst you are processing that, Jove, you come on deck. The captain and Sela are dead.
I think he just sort of stomps a little closer, leaning heavily on his walking stick, and just sort of looks around and goes, I imagine there's some stories to tell. Are you two all right? I mean, considering I just, I mean, I don't mean physically, obviously. I mean, you know, how's your hearts? You feeling okay?
And I think Sela is gonna say, I'm really glad I got to see my family again. But I'm also really heartbroken that I didn't make it back in time, and I feel like I may have failed you.
I don't think that's a way that we should look at it. I think that everyone makes choices, and all those choices have different consequences. I mean, you're still here, you're still with us, you're still part of the crew, and no, you did what you needed to do, and sometimes when we do those things, there's unexpected things can happen. I don't think you should worry about that at all. Or you, Captain. You are still here, looking fabulous. Just a little more see-through. God, you make me feel sad, though.
Oh, gee, thank
Oh.
you. I think you guys are very used to seeing, the captain being, like more upbeat, like definitely posturing more and like doing all these things, just to lighten the mood. But I think on that note, you really see just how much Faye deflates, and she kind of has to think about it even for a second, backtrack, and just be like, I'm not okay.
That's fine.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
I think Jove like kind of stumps over to like put a hand on her shoulder and then just sort of hesitates for a second and hovers it above where her shoulder would be, trying to like give off some body heat towards it. But I also imagine that like that gesture, although it's meant to be comforting for her, also makes him feel incredibly sad.
Yeah, like for both of you, there is nothing to hold. Faye is, to your touch, as insubstantial as air, and Faye, from your perspective, you can't even feel the warmth. There's just nothing. There's just this aching absence of anything at all, any feeling at all.
It's all right, darling.
We all need to have a big meeting. We need to catch up.
Oh yes. I would love to hear the tales of how 2 people died while I was just having a rest. Not gonna sleep ever again, let me tell you that.
I mean, with how you were asleep, I honestly thought you were dead first. So
Well, I wasn't. No, that's funny. Why don't I go and just does anyone know where we are? That's something that I'd like to know. Just out of just curiosity.
Ella,
You're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I actually think of the whole group, Jove is the best placed to.
Don't worry, I know where we are.
Never mind. That was a trick question.
No one knows where we are. Excellent, because I'd like to do that thing where the Southern gentleman walks around solving the problem and telling everybody about it in like steps for 15 minutes. It's like, I may just be a small town country lawyer, but
Where's your buckwheat?
We're a bubble.
I think yeah, Jove, you're following the path of the world. You've never been here before. You've never been in this situation before. This is uniquely strange.
Oh yeah, I think he's stoked though, because like that's his whole thing, is like experiencing new things and going new places, and like I'm not stoked they're dead, but like it's cool. We're underwater. I can see fish floating around. That's rad.
And I think like with that, I would like you please to give me a tongues roll. So D12 plus your tongues. Tell me what you get.
Oh, I would love to do that. My tongues is really high now, because that's all I'm good at. That's a 13.
A 13. Okay. So that is a difficult success. I am going to say, yeah, it's not quite like I think Jove has a feeling. I think what Jove does know is that he's still on the glass road somehow. I think you'll be very familiar with the glass. The glass is the part of the river associated with the face of the world. It is the longest stretch of the river. It is the one with the most people, the most cultures, the most like different kinds of people. And I imagine that it's probably somewhere that Jove has some kind of connection to.
Oh yeah.
So
he's just gonna go and like touch the edge of the bubble and like see if water comes out and just sort of like examine the situation while he's thinking.
If he touches the edge of the bubble, what he'll feel is that it's like very cold glass. But if he pushes it, it moves around his hand, kind of
like a meniscus, kind of.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think like it's so dark down here that he can't tell like how far they've traveled, but it's definitely on the glass.
Cool.
On the other side of things, Shahik, can you hear me? Because I feel like we lost you for a sec there.
Yes, I'm back.
Yay!
Hooray!
Wonderful. Shahik, Aldred has super hearing. So Aldred hears this whole conversation happening, but also specifically, Aldred hears something else. Aldred hears the sound of people, a large group of people talking. They seem to be sort of down and north of you, like they are definitely not on the ship. They're some distance away, and it's only your super hearing that means you can hear it, but you can definitely hear like a group of people, maybe a town or something, somehow way below you. And whilst Aldred's hearing is kind of giving her this as she comes up onto the deck and joins the rest of the crew, Sela, your sight in the opposite direction, south, down this deep, dark river, and when you look at it, it's just like starless night forever. That's it. But you just see this charcoal on charcoal, tissue paper on tissue paper, just impression of this almost feathered tail, this massive winding serpent of a dragon, a river dragon, just swimming away into the dark, away from you. And it's only your super sight that really means that you can see it at all, but you realize that there is a lot more here in this river with you than maybe the rest of your crew can see.
Was that it? Was that the dragon?
Yes, it was.
I'm so glad somebody said that because I was like,
that was the most perfect time. I was like,
So
Wait, you guys heard that too? What the fuck is my superpower good for then?
Aldred, you come up onto the deck, and you've just heard Jove ask his question of like, does anyone know where we are? Jove is kind of like standing at the side, like pushing his hand into the water, trying to see what's going on. And Aldred, you know, because of what you've heard, you can put together, you are approaching the buried river, that this mythical urban myth settlement of elves that live beneath the river. You are going towards it at some speed. You are going to be there quite soon. What do you say or do?
Joe, could you repeat your question, please?
Does anyone know where we are?
stop poking the bubble that's keeping us alive.
You have got to try it. It is a magical feeling.
sticks hand through, can't feel
And
anything.
everyone, please stop touching the magic bubble that's stopping us from dying. Sorry, that
Apologies,
was rude.
apologies.
Sorry, that was
No.
insensitive. I'm sorry.
No, you're using your voice, and that is very important. Good.
Thank you, Captain.
Yes, you have to
They
learn how
call
to do
it the buried river.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
I
Yes,
love
it does. Yes, it does. For them.
He's better
I'm
now that
happy to
he's
see
southern,
you're
isn't he? Oh, thank you. Yes, that draft was quite a thing. I suppose. Yeah, that's good to know that you had that. It was a fun time. It was a fun time. Most dreamless sleep I've had
And we're not
in
alone
decades.
here, from what I can tell.
Well,
Yes.
so you see them too.
Now, I'm gonna tuck in.
it. I'm sorry. See what?
The ghost.
You're gonna
Faye's just like.
So you also see dead people?
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm
currently
sorry.
seeing dead. Oh, so hi, Bela, and welcome back. You see, Aldred just put back like a vial, up into her pocket, and the vial's got like a drawing of a skull on it. Whatever that means. But
You keep those like separate from each other, right? I
yeah,
don't
she's
need to
just gonna say,
There's just like a jumble in there. We just sort of like grab bag of
That
goodies.
could be separate or different pockets.
Good to know.
Well, my potions and poisons could be in different pockets, but you still need to know which to use. Anyway,
It's ominous.
yeah, we're not alone here. I'm hearing some voices.
That's us, darling.
And
We were just talking a moment ago.
Aldred says that she's hearing some voices. Jove says that's us. And it's at this moment that Sela, you turn your eyes away from that dragon swimming into the distance. It's disappeared now, even past the point that your sight can see. And you turn and you see light below you. This just absolute impossible bird's nest of amber glow that is coming up through the darkness. And as you continue to sink downwards, you get closer and closer, and Sela, in just perfect clarity, you can see a city. Or maybe it's more of a town. Maybe it was once a city, but a lot of it is dark, and a very small part of it is still lit. The buildings are marble, but they are painted with gold. They are decorated. They are largely covered in colorful mosaics, blues and greens and reds. They have these kind of sort of dome-like ceilings with these spires on top. And you can see many kind of buildings that are lit by this warm amber light and seem to be sort of protected by a similar shield to the one that you have. But there are other buildings outside of that limit which have fully just been taken over by the river, which are covered in silt, which have like huge kind of like fronds of like various kind of strange deep river growing plants that are drifting slowly in the water as if in a very, very slowed breeze. You're brought down and you're brought down, and eventually all of you can hear what Aldred could hear, which was the sound of voices talking, the sound of a crowd, a concerned crowd. And Sela, you see them first. In the center of the street of this city, there is a massive crowd of injured people, many of them wearing the clothes of the pirates you saw in the floating gardens. Sela, you can see that Julie Diamantis, the minnow, the pirate queen, is here. And I don't think you know Belcrane, but you can see a short human woman with dark skin there as well. In addition to that, you see that the Buried River doesn't have a river exactly. It has a river made of sapphire beaten down the center of the road between the buildings. That imitates a memory of the river that the people here once had, but have no longer. You can see around the kind of group of pirates that are injured, there are many, many elves. They are tall and they are all elderly. They have white or grey or greying hair. They all wear like these interesting clothes which are kind of layered over, largely kind of tunic-like, very colourful, very covered in patterns. Mostly again kind of blues and reds and greens, geometric patterns. And they all look quite concerned about the large group of refugees that has landed in their home. And finally, all of you together see a sort of series of docks outside of this city. The docks are impossibly high. They're sort of about the 6th story kind of level at the very roofs of these buildings. And they jut out from the roofs in the part of the river that is still water and kind of connect up to where this kind of dome, this golden dome, reaches over the city. Your ship is pulled down by the map to the crystal net until it lands, I suppose is one way to describe this, beside one of the jetties, and does not move. It seems to be held here somehow like an anchor. Tarai, you notice that where your ship's bubble ends and the city's bubble begins, there is a gap of deep, dark water that you will have to traverse in some way in order to get into the city itself. What you'll do?
Oh no.
So I think I'm assuming Tarai can now let go of the helm.
Yes, they can.
Right. So I think Tarai's going to come down, go to where everyone else is, and kind of go, right, okay, huddle, everyone, huddle. We're going to go huddle. Okay. This is the Buried River, I think. And that's a big, scary thing to have to process. But in the meantime, I think we're all going to be very polite. We're all going to be very helpful. We're all going to be very useful. And we are going to need to find a way to get off the boat. So how big is the gap?
I would say it's about 14 feet.
14 feet. Okay.
Can I?
The way my heart just sunk.
Yes, Casey.
Can I do like a culture roll to see if, like, now that we've named it, if I know anything about it?
Yes, of course you can.
Okay,
Please
cool.
do. Roll d12 plus your tongues.
Ooh, that
I
fell with
can't
my
help
phone.
you off the boat. I just realized.
What? You can't get off the boat?
No, I definitely can't get off the boat, but I can help Turai off the boat like I usually do. Oh,
I'll help your friend. So 17.
17. Wow. Yeah. No, that's a beyond legendary success. You know a bunch of shit about this.
I just forgot what it was called.
Actually, what I
No, but you're
really
okay.
like about this is it brings up something that may or may not come up later. We'll see how we do for time. Yeah, Jove, the reason that you know the Buried River very, very well is that your parents smuggled people to this location. This was one of the places that people were sent to. So you are very aware of like what it is and where it is.
Is it like
and-
generally like a safe haven, or is it just the safest place they could think of?
Yes, so basically the Buried River is a magical underwater city. Now when the Kiwi was still here properly, it was a place that people like tourists actually could like visit. Like travelers could come to the Buried River. Normally a Kiwi ferryman would take them like from the glass above down to the Buried River below. And this was kind of an established route. However, after the Kiwi disappeared, for a while no one was really sure how to get down there or even how to find it. And for a while the location was lost. Then some elves were able to find their way down using magic and basically kind of created what was originally just like refugees essentially squatting in the abandoned city. Was like what the buried city started out as. They kind of appropriated what used to be there of the Buried River and turned it into like a safe camp. And then as the war got worse and the elven settlements were raised on the Glass Road, more and more elves came down here and it became like more clearly an elven settlement. It also became increasingly clear that there were no Kiwi anywhere. There are things left behind in the buildings, magical mechanisms, objects that no one really understands. There is a legend that through the library there is a secret passage into the crystal nets and to the source itself, but no one knows how to open the door because there aren't any Kiwi left and the writing is in Kiwi script. The elves like kind of for a long time tried to send messages or leave messages or find some way to contact the Kiwi, but they weren't able to. What your parents would know from their work in smuggling people upriver is that yes, the Buried River is a safe place to be. It's associated with the face of temperance. It's also a very because it's associated with temperance, it's very much a place in stasis. It's a bubble out of time. And a lot of the people that go there feel that and it's true that they live a diminished life, that they feel cut off from the rest of the river. It's difficult for them to get back up onto the surface because you need certain enchantments and magic, and not everyone can have that. Plus, if too many people go up, they risk giving away the location. And the last thing that I'll say that you know, Jove, because you follow the path of the world, because you have the culture knack, because you so specifically have spoken to so many travelers and worked with so many people, is you have heard a rumor. The Floating Gardens is associated with the Face of Judgment. The Floating Gardens wasn't created until quite recently. Julie Diamantis, the minnow, only attacks Imperial ships. She doesn't attack anyone else. You have heard a rumor that she comes from the Buried River and that she and her wife Belle Crane have been working to essentially establish a supply line of food and other required things down into the Buried River. And so you in particular will not be surprised to see her here because you know that she may have a quite deep family connection to this location and sees herself as its protector. She also very much does not like or trust humans.
Cool. Maybe before we do anything else, let's just take an hour to have Jove relay all that information, probably sans the stuff about his parents, but just all the stuff that he knows, and then also hear the story of what happened because we still don't know why these two are ghosts, and just all get on the same page so we all have the same information. Can we just I'll make like something really aromatic, because I know that they can't eat, but maybe they can smell it, and I'll like kind of think about the captain's roots and make like a gumbo or like some sort of like spiced like Mediterranean thing, and just like really aromatic. We'll sort of sit around the soup bowl and chat about that.
Can I make a request?
Yeah.
Can you put a little catfish in there?
Oh, you know that it's mostly
you know.
catfish. You know it's mostly catfish. Yep. Yep. Some crawdads.
Where did you get that? No, I'm not going to ask that question.
I'll read through the bubble.
You just like, you're my friend now.
Yeah, we were just on land. I fish all the time. You've seen me do it, so I'm not sure where your confusion lies, but here we are.
Katie, give me a roll plus your tongues to cook this meal.
That cocked. That's not great. 10.
It's okay. You don't have as many spices as you wanted.
Yeah, I put too much thought in the aroma and didn't think enough about the flavor. So it's just like really
pressure down
pungent.
here, like changes the taste.
It's true. Yeah, there's no like atmospheric. It's it's not my best work, but it's been a rough day. I keep looking over at the captain and being like, oh. Like, oh.
She's just like, stop looking at me. Just stop. I need you to stop.
Can't.
I need you to stop. I need you to stop.
I can't.
Sela also cannot eat. I think part of the reason this meal is underwhelming is half the people receiving it can't eat it. Which...
It doesn't have quite the like community coming around the fireplace feel as it once did, but we weren't like ghosts wait outside. We still wanted to include you, but it's just not quite the same.
If you made me wait outside of my own boat, I would consume.
That's fair. I mean, we wouldn't have done it. That sounds awful, but all right.
Sela, do you tell people about what you've seen? Oh, sorry, Shaik.
I think during the meal at some point I'm just gonna once I join, I think I'll join late, but once I come out, I'll just
be in Tarai looking at each other eating until you get there. Love it. Sorry, go on.
Yes. I'll take out just 2 potions, and I'll just be like, good, bad. Okay? I'm not gonna repeat this. And I put it back. And the good is like the one with the skull. The bad is the one that looks like it will be good. So keep that in mind. Thank you. And then I sit down and take whatever it is to eat.
I feel like I'm missing a lesson for something important later, and
I lean over to Faye and just be like, I'm still not allowed to touch those, right?
Yeah, don't touch them. No.
Okay,
no.
Okay, good.
That's still in order. Just
It's not like a captain thing that I have to touch them. No, okay, that's fine.
No, I wasn't even going to touch them. You shouldn't be touching them.
I definitely. Okay, cool. Right, good. Just checking.
I feel like we haven't heard from Lily in a while. So what's Sela doing?
I mean, like, obviously, yeah, she's gonna go. I think even she kind of forgets, like, right at first. It's like, ooh, food, yay, Joe's cooking. And then it's like, oh, right. So she's just like, she's like leaning against the wall, kind of in like a relaxed pose, like her, like one leg crossed over the other and her arms crossed, and I think she waits for everybody who can eat to start eating and then say, so I saw a dragon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Wait.
What?
When you were away.
While you were out? When?
No. Just, while we were sinking, there was a dragon behind us.
It's a weird flex to bring it up right now, but all right.
I mean, I just don't. I don't know how to do this like table conversation anymore since I can't partake of the food.
Well, I mean, here's a thing. If you see a dragon at any time, you just tap someone on the shoulder, or just say out loud and point, "Hey, look, a dragon," and then that'll be good.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it wasn't doing anything to us. It wasn't like threatening or anything like that. I just
yeah, but some
saw
people
it.
want to
would be
see
good
dragons in their lifetime.
Oh,
Yeah, I've never seen one. That'd be really mighty fine. But also, like, if it decides to attack, it's nice to have a bit of, warning
That's
so you can hide behind a barrel.
I don't know if that's quite going to help with a dragon.
I'm real
but,
stealthy.
You know,
You stay with your creaky little bones.
Yeah, because it says that and like it just cracks every bone in his body.
Face just looking at you like,
I'm
Tarai's
gonna
just eating.
I'm gonna move us forward in time from this slightly awkward family dinner.
Yes.
Just wanted us all to like have the same information going into
Yeah,
this. that we're not
no,
on
1,000%. I think it was a solid choice, and I'm glad that we had it.
Magic.
But I also I want to say that before we, what's going to happen next is that people in the Buried River are going to notice this is a brand new ship here. They're quite a paranoid, like, haven of refugee survivors from a war. They don't generally just let people in without asking who they are. And before we resolve that, I just want to give you all as players, in particular Zania, the option to talk about some of the stuff that your curses in particular are urging you to talk about. You can choose to hold on to that until later. That's absolutely fine. I'm just going to say that this is going to be one of the opportunities where you can do that. Would you like to do that now, or would you like to wait?
I would actually really like to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, boy. I think as things are just kind of calming down and stuff, and people are getting seconds or whatever, she just kind of crosses her arms and sits with you guys and is like, okay, so we really need to talk. There's a few things. I feel like a very shitty captain, but yeah, we all good? We all situated?
What makes you feel like a shitty captain?
Yeah, why? No.
what is, yeah.
A shitty captain doesn't go down with the ship, and you went down with the ship, so and you're still here. So
And the ship's fine. Like, the
well,
ship
we all went down with the ship if we're gonna be,
Can we stop saying that
just-
phrase? This is probably not working. But
Not a good phrase, and I don't want to think about my ship any lower. But
That's fair.
that's fair.
so I will be honest. I feel like I failed, and I haven't been as honest as I should have been from the start. So let's call out the giant catfish in the room. Yes, I am dead. I was chasing after an imperialist, a Leo, and I managed to lose track of them. I was at the end of an alleyway, and they shot me in the back of the head. I never got the, I didn't get the chance to see them. They wouldn't even give me the honor of looking them in the eye when it happened. And that really hurts, you know?
That's not your failure.
No.
Yeah, I'm curious. What about that do you think is a failure on your part? You don't have eyes on the back of your head?
None of us
That's
do.
all I can see.
I'd like to think I've been a good enough captain to always try and assure that you're all okay.
Well,
And
they didn't.
that, no, it's just that you're okay, that I carry through exactly what I promised. I promised to get this person, and I didn't. And the ship's okay. It's not the worst. It's just we're not in the best of shape, and I feel like in claiming to indulge in these ideals of the source and not even and sort of lying about doing this more so for you guys. I do feel like a shitty captain, and I want to say sorry before I explain them.
Okay.
Are you saying
I
there's
forgive you.
another? Is there another reason you want to go to the source? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'd love to hear it if you're willing to share.
Where do I even begin? I think that feeling of like, or at least I imagine that feeling of like melancholy is kind of like growing as she's trying to think about where to start. But it's like,
The room gets darker and colder, and even Sela feels it. Sela, who is also dead and whose death was unfairly accidental and unfairly unnoticed. The way that Sela was a woman with a life and a story, and she just got her life taken from her out of nowhere. And Sela, like, getting shot in the back of the head, you got knocked out by something you didn't see. And when you woke up, you were gone. And you have no idea who did that or how or what. And you feel this cold settling into you as well as Faye kind of thinks, and this melancholy grows, and you feel the injustice and frustration of that. You're a warrior, you make weapons, you're brave, you're a gunner, you should have gone down in a fight, seeing what you were fighting. It should have been interesting. And instead it was this stupid accidental death, and it's not fair, and you feel that injustice. As Faye thinks, and this melancholy grows.
so, I'm looking for one of my mothers. No, I know I'm the Fey Half Moon, but I wasn't always quite as flashy. We kind of just had this boat that we sold all these little those little rubbing oils and soaps and stuff. It was very sweet. Well, one of my mothers is obviously river folk, but I thought the other was human. Her name was Harper. And one night I heard screaming, and I went outside to go see what it was, and my mother's just running. I could hear something, but I could never see what it was. She, at first I was gonna just go to her. I was gonna run. I was gonna yell for somebody, and then I saw her skin change. I saw her face change for just the briefest moment, and she was gone. Turns out she wasn't human at all. And we never really found out what she was running from, where she ended up. I don't know if she's dead. But you grow up hearing all this stuff about, the source. They all go for the source. And I feel longer than I've even known you, and she gestures towards Turai. She's like, I was willing to risk everything just to get a glimpse again, just to see, maybe even have that smugness in seeing her again. And I don't really even know what I'm gonna do if I see her there, but I don't want to keep lying. I don't want to just have to think about this.
Faye.
Oh no, you go.
Nope, that's it.
No, I meant Shahik. You go.
You didn't trick us into coming to the source. All of us have a reason to be here, or to continue going to the source.
We all swore an oath to get.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that we all swore an oath to get to the source, and hell or high water, we will get this goddamn ship to the source. That is the oath we took. That is the promise we made. And we are allowed our secrets, and we are allowed our own motivations. That does not make you a bad captain, because you are a good captain. You're Faye goddamn Half Moon. The only way that person managed to beat you was by cheating. That does not. You are not a bad captain. You are the best damn captain that I have ever sailed with, and we've sailed with some pretty good captains, haven't we? We have. And there is no other ship that I would rather be on. There's no better ship than this one. And it's going to be okay. We're going to get to the source. And we'll find whatever's there. But we're going to get there. We're going to get to the source.
You know, we swore an oath to get to the source, but we also swore an oath to each other. I mean, I'm here, and I'm in the same position as you. But we're all together at least, and we're all supporting each other. And it's okay to have your own reasons for wanting to go there. You know, I don't even have a really specific reason. I just wanted to be on an adventure with everyone here.
You know, Faye, I think all the guilt that you're feeling is valid. I understand making choices for yourself and then regretting them later once you get to know people. But I just want to say that I feel privileged that you feel safe enough to share your story with us now. And thank you for trusting us with that. I think I don't want to speak for the group, but I don't think that our opinion of you has changed in any way. Good,
It's
let
really
it out.
not a very evil reason to go to the source at all. I don't know why you were worried.
They feel selfish because she's lied to her friends, and I understand that. Where she feels like she's been disingenuous, and it's hard to realize you're with good people, and you've been disingenuous with them, and that's fine. You are entitled to your grief and your guilt. Just know that I don't think we feel any of that. If that makes you feel any better. And we will try our damnedest to get to the source and find what we're looking for. But if we don't, then at least we've had these moments of honesty and clarity with each other.
So we're not going to try our damnedest. We're just going to go.
We're just gonna go, and we're gonna go as far as we get, and we're gonna get there as best we can. But I think it's important to remember that failure is a part of life, and if we're not meant to get there, we won't. We're gonna do everything in our power, and we're gonna die trying. But it's okay to fail.
You're not gonna die.
Just kidding. We're not gonna die. We're not gonna fail. I'm sorry. I forgot that sometimes pep talks are more important than truths. Just kidding. We're gonna find that source, and it's gonna be the sourciest source that's ever source. Let's do it.
I think on that beautiful note, I have to say, let's close the scene. But what I will say is that, Faye, the curse of the sun is lifted from you. The sun returns to you.
Oh,
and
God.
As it does, all of you feel this collective warmth, like just swelling in your hearts. You know, when you've had like something really great has happened, when you see someone you love after a long time, you just feel this light spreading through all of you. As Faye just seems for a second to be much brighter than she is, as if she is almost giving off light. And the whole
See, that's
room
better.
warms, and even feel it.
Mhm.
However, I will say, Lily, I think Seela is the only person who might not be washed over by the sun, partly because you're a ghost and partly because of where you're at and what's happened to you. And I want to give you, the player, that choice. Do you think that Seela lets herself be reassured and comforted by this, or do you think that she stays with her own grief?
I think, you know what? I think here's the thing. We did like the whole tournament thing, and that was like such a huge success, and it was something that Seela really wanted to do, and she was around other halflings, and that was like a high that she carried into meeting her family. And like off screen, I everyone else kind of knows how things happened with Seela's family, but so she wasn't necessarily welcomed back home, but also they were kind of like, wait, you said when we said that you were exiled, you really thought that meant forever? And she was like, yeah. And they're like, oh well, why were you gone so long anyway? So it just seemed like it was like a rash decision, obviously, that the village took, because they had pledged to be pacifists, and Seela supposedly like violated this, but she got to see her family again. She had this high from the tournament. I think even though she is experiencing a lot of grief over kind of unfairly dying, she also just got to do like two things that she would have wanted to do before she actually died. So I'm going to say she gets reassured by this.
Cool. I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you. So yeah, this warmth kind of spreads out. Faye, you have your path again. You now are only operating under one curse instead of two. You're still under the curse of strength.
Hooray!
The curse of
Hey, I'll
strength,
take it. I'll take it.
the curse of strength halves your attack damage until you surrender, when you can choose to attack. And you still have the blessing of judgment, which will allow you to forgive an old wrong soon. Aldred, you hear several things change in what you're hearing. Outside the boat, the crowd disappears. There seems to be kind of a commotion, and then suddenly there's just not the sound of a crowd anymore. Or at least it's very muffled and far away. The other thing you notice is this kind of whoomph of like, it's like a pressure change, where something about the water seems to change. If you've ever heard like an underwater mic, that kind of click, 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 click kind of sound, seems to happen, and you get the sense, and then you hear heavily armored people approaching your ship as if they are walking towards it across wood. You hear footsteps on wood, you hear armor clinking, you hear swords moving. You are aware that a group of people, is about to arrive at your ship. What do you do?
I think right like 2 seconds before that, Aldred is gonna go for seconds like with the ladle and just be like, well, to Captain Faye Halfmoon and the Prestige, I guess. Flop.
I guess.
And then like
I guess.
takes. Listen, you might have taken away your part, your input of the grief, but I've still got a bunch of my own.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. It's just so your character is like, so cheers, I guess, because this is as much as I'm participating in group talk. Like, I love it.
I will say,
I'm gonna take my. Yes, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna take my spoon, and as I'm about to like bite/eat my soup,
Slurp?
what is it? Is it a soup? Okay.
It's slurp.
I just go like. Fuck. Well, that's over, I guess. Guys, we've got company.
Oh.
And then I'm assuming ad break.
Well, nearly great.
Oh,
Although
see?
I love that you
Just put a
are
button on and wait.
attempting. Like what I like about this is that we're having a mutiny on the stream. And I really enjoy that. Shaik is like, I'm gonna be captain of the stream. I love that. Nearly ad break, I
Sorry.
promise. It's okay. There are two crucial details we need to address. Do you all go out to meet the people in heavy armor and weapons who are coming to your ship?
Yes.
Get away from the balcony.
I'm a barrel. I'm just kidding.
Well, Jove, if you want to be hiding, you gotta give me a roll.
No. He's gonna talk his way out of everything like he always does. It's fine.
I love him so much.
And
Okay,
then he'll be a barrel if it doesn't work. All right.
Cool. All right. So you all get up on deck. Aldred, you'll be first because you heard these people first. And what you see is a group of elves. Now, these ones aren't wearing those kind of beautiful kind of patterned tunics. They are wearing armor, mostly leather armor, but some of them are kind of bronze steel armor. They are all carrying weapons, and many of their weapons are glowing or gilded with some kind of enchantments. And their enchantments run like water up and down the steel of their blades, moving with this kind of glittering silver light. Thank you. They are led by a woman who looks to be in her 50s. She has kind of tan skin, deep wrinkles, short, kind of choppy black and grey hair, kind of salt and pepper hair. She looks very severe. And yeah, they all look sort of, they walk up the jetty, and as they do, this corridor of light just follows them and joins onto the bubble of your ship, kind of creating this like passage to walk through instead of swim. However, it's currently filled with a bunch of really heavily armed elves who look really pissed off. Those elves led by this woman, she kind of stops and like calls out to you as you all kind of emerge onto the deck. She says, "Who's in charge?"
So Dry's gonna move their way to the front and kind of take a step forward.
I think that's her expression completely changes as she sees Tarai step forward.
In a good way?
I hope so.
Jove, I want you to give me a tongues roll, please.
Ooh.
Oh wait, did you hear me, Katie? Jove, I want you to give
Oh,
me a
sorry, I
tongues
heard Tarai. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was too busy making jokes on the Twitch stream. I'm
Do not worry. And whilst we're doing that, Lily, give me a spirits roll.
Okay.
Oh, should I do my path roll? I just realized we didn't.
Yes.
That's a 17 for me.
Woohoo! Great,
Told
good
ya.
to know. Lily, tell me what you get.
Sorry. Well, I got a 12 on the die, but that is a 16 then.
Alrighty. I mean, 12 on the die. I'm gonna give it to you. And Tarai, because you are following the path of Wheel of Fortune, you get 3 d12 rolls, which you can choose to substitute for anyone else's.
Yes.
Do you want to give me those 3 rolls now, just so we all know what they are?
I did them just there, so I got a 12, 11, and a 9. So we've got good numbers today.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Go
Very
Captain!
Okay, so in order, here's what happens. Jove, you see on this woman's face, she sees you, and you see just hatred. This is not someone who knows the actual reputation of your parents. This is someone who knows the Aeneas name. Knows the Aeneas name well enough to recognize you on sight and hate you on sight.
Get used to that.
Looks like she really, really wants to kill you.
That's
And then she's distracted by the fact that Tarai comes forward, and you see her face go through several emotions very quickly. First is just straight up absolute blinding shock. Second is incredible grief. Third is a kind of warmth, affection, deep, deep love that finally kind of attempts to settle itself into a polite but still friendly neutrality as she looks at Tarai. Whilst this is happening, Sela, you kind of got recapped everything. Everyone told you everything. So you got told about this red-headed human person, this Imperial officer, the person who killed Faye, who was able to turn invisible and then became visible again. And you noticed behind these guards, on these wide streets, on that sapphire river, you notice for a second the air shimmer, and it's only because of your super sight that you're able to see this, but you notice the air shimmer, and you notice just a braid of red hair kind of flicking and running towards this big building that looks like a temple or a church or a library. You know the way that kind of Grand Central Libraries look, that kind of big kind of temple thing going on. I love Thania's expression.
Yeah. Sorry, I got overwhelmed.
I'm really happy you're having fun.
Don't worry, I'll run after them. I'm just kidding. Let me just get it over.
The last thing that happens before we take our break is Tarai. This woman looks at you. She is taller than you, she's older than you. All of these elves are significantly older than you. There is not a single person here who is as young as you are. There's not a single person in the city who is as young as you are. And she has a sword in a scabbard at her hip. She's got this heavy armor. She's got a pendant. It's Path of Justice. And her expression tightens for a moment, almost as if she's sort of holding back pain from an injury. Her hand moves in an aborted gesture as if to lift up towards you, to reach out to touch you, and then stops and her fingers curl. She drops her arm by her side, and she shakes her head and she says, "You look just like your father." And that is where we are going to take our break. So we're going to take a quick 15-minute break. During this break, please remember to hydrate and take your meds. If you're in the UK, it's real hot right now, and I don't know how hot it is everywhere else in the world, but I'm going to assume that there's a lot of heat going around.
Lovely here. Vancouver's the best.
Hey, that's good.
It's pretty chilly in here.
Okay, cool.
Ooh, get you!
Yeah.
Like
I love that for
Listen,
you.
I live in a desert. It's always hot.
All right, well, we're going to have a break for 10 to 15 minutes whilst we all come to terms with our geographical locations. We run ad breaks, which keep pre-roll ads off the air for the final hour of the game. Take your meds, hydrate. Please subscribe to both the Girls Run These Worlds Twitch and YouTube channels. They're both awesome. And don't forget, you can enter the giveaway. If you've joined a bit late, you could get a giveaway, a PDF of Upriver Downriver.
It's really cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
I like this game, but I wrote it, so I would.
I do too.
Hey! Endorsement.
I've legitimately fallen so in love with it. I want to run
I
it.
love it. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Alrighty, we will see you all in 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you very much. back to Girls Run These Worlds. This is our campaign of Upriver Downriver. We are halfway through our 3rd episode, so if you're just joining us now, you might want to start at the start to get some context. Or don't. I mean, hey, listen, I can't tell you what to do. So, where we were when we left off was that our crew, the crew of the Prestige, had just arrived in the Buried River. Faye Halfmoon, Captain Faye Halfmoon, had revealed that she is going to the source for reasons other than just the adventure of it all, but actually specifically because she is looking for her lost mother who ran away and was a Kiwi. The Kiwi are a culture, a race of people who disappeared from the river during and after the war between the human empire and the magical peoples of the river, and it's not clear whether that was because of a genocide or because the Kiwi left the river and traveled elsewhere or went into hiding. No one knows what happened. But we know at least one Kiwi person, the only person that many of us will have heard of, was one of Faye's mothers. Where exactly we left off was that Tarai met with a group of elves, heavily armed elves from the Buried River, who were coming to kind of ask exactly what this ship was doing here. And the seeming captain of that guard, an old woman in her 50s with salt and pepper hair, seemed very struck by Tarai and said that they looked just like their father. And that is where we're picking up. Tarai, how do you respond?
So I think Tarai's going to be a little bit put on the back foot by that comment, and I think they're going to sort of go into, when you practice reciting something, and then you're trying to remember it. You're trying to remember how to stand and move things around. I think they're going to kind of go into that mode a little bit, and I think they're just going to kind of stop, take another step forward, and kind of go. My name is Tarai. I'm the child of Turen and Lamai. This is my ship. It is the Prestige. I apologize for our unexpected arrival. It wasn't our intention, but we seek safe passage, and we can offer medical assistance. We have a good doctor, and a number of this crew are skilled in first aid. We are here to help any way we can.
So she blinks rapidly, and she has these grey-blue eyes, and they glitter a bit even in the darkness. And she sort of schools her features, shakes her head. How did you come to arrive here unexpectedly, and to where are you seeking safe passage?
Magic map. So magic is how we got here unexpectedly, and we are heading for the source.
Yeah, I think you don't even need to say the second part because the map tells her that, and her face falls. She looks grief-stricken, and she sort of takes a moment, gathers herself, cuts a glance at Jove. Why are you traveling with an Aeneas?
Jove is a member of this crew. Jove has always been a member of this crew.
I don't think that you know what that means, just by the way. He's not told you his last name.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
no.
That's I haven't told anybody who I am.
Oh, right, okay.
You could be defending Jove anyway.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you have all the facts. You're not
okay,
yeah. He's been
wronged.
wronged.
I see the basically this is all right, okay, this is I'm basically kind of almost repeating what Faye did.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, to be fair, Faye's done this before. We've all done this before, specifically for Jove. It's the norm.
Yeah.
This is kind of Tarai going, it's my turn to do this. All right, okay, that's fine. So that's
Sorry.
Waving with support on top of the boat.
Just occasionally just stealing a look back, being like, how am I doing?
Yeah, she's like,
Do you understand who he is?
He's our cook.
I know that Turan and Lamai disagreed with many of our principles, but I cannot imagine that they would disagree with them so profoundly as to be complicit with the slaughter of hundreds of our people. They were crucial. His parents, specifically, won the war against us. They betrayed us. They came into our homes. They reported on our locations. They burned our houses. They killed families. We lost because of them. There are no more young elves down here because of them. His parents are some of the most powerful, famous names in the war with the human empire because they killed us. And you're comfortable with that. That doesn't bother you at all. In no way does it trouble you that this is what they've done.
Okay.
What is your name?
My name is Nicola.
Yeah, we all.
I understand what you're talking about. I understand better than most people what you are saying. But I have been traveling with this man for several days, I think. And Okay, don't laugh!
It's just the delivery. We love you. It's fine.
It's so great. Please go on.
I know people. I don't talk to people very well, but I know people. And this man didn't even think about killing me? I thought about killing him once. But I am telling you, he literally could not. He might want to, who knows? But he couldn't do anything to us or any of us. And it's possible that he's secretly some sort of fascist. But
As many old
does he
people
look like he's gonna do anything?
This is our doctor, Aldred Sprigmore.
Yes, your people have suffered, as ours have suffered. You do understand, and I know that. But I
Well,
need
you
you
don't.
to understand.
But go on.
I will respect that. I need you to understand that Atticus and Desmona Aeneas, they didn't put their hands to the slaughter. They didn't want to get their hands dirty. But what they did was earn our trust. What they did was come into our homes. What they did was assure us that they could be trusted, that they understood us, that they understood what we were going through. And when we loved them, they disappeared. And then the humans came. And then dozens of towns were burned because they had been allowed in, because they knew our secrets, because we thought that we could trust them, because they had helped us in the past, because we let them in. And I'm sorry, but the fact that this man is likable, and the fact that over the last few days he has given you cause to think that he is charming, is not reassuring to me, because he comes from a family of spies who have earned our trust and broken it once before. I am not concerned that he will overpower me. I am concerned that he will trick us, and I am concerned that he has already tricked you. And she looks at Tarai.
Joven. I'm gonna cast Inspire Fear into Joven.
Ooh.
Just to check on a outside of stream thing,
Oh, yeah.
PvP stuff is not super on it thing. So I just want to check. Casey, are you comfortable with that happening?
What does that mean?
What does that
I'm
mean?
not gonna try to attack Joven.
I
You're
know,
gonna-
but even
No, I know.
Inspire Fear is,
But like, what does that mean? Like, what does that do? Does
it's
it
Right.
make me scared, or
Yes.
does it make them scared? Oh, it makes me scared.
Yeah. If you
Can
don't
you
feel
tell me-
comfortable with...
Can you just tell me why? Like what the
I'm
goal
going
is?
to ask you a question. I'm going to need the truth. And I thought this might help.
I think Jovan's just gonna put up his hand and look at, sorry, I forgot her name. What's her name again?
Nicola.
Nicola. And just look at Nicola and say, respectfully, ma'am, would you be comfortable with me saying a few words on my behalf?
Very well.
I don't think there's anything I could say that could undo or right any of the wrongs that were done by the human empire and the legacy as part of the stories that my parents were involved with. There may still be some here who remember the Aeneas family in a different light, and there may not be. I can't give you evidence. There's no reason for you to trust me. All I have is this, and he's just gonna pull out one of his parents' journals. This is the only evidence that I have that I spent my entire life feeling how you do, thinking that my parents were a part of this and that they were bad people. As I got older and learned a bit more and talked to people around the world, I've realized that they, just as you have, were tricked by the Empire. If you'd like to, you're welcome to have this. And he'll hand the journal over.
She'll take it, and she starts flicking through it. At first, she's very tense.
You're like, okay.
And then something in her mana shifts. I'm gonna say that with your legendary success from earlier, Katie, Jove can see this thing as it kind of goes from surprise flickers across her face.
Mm-hmm.
And then her eyes kind of glitter with this quicksilver of magic, this liquid silver that moves across her eyes, and the pages start to flick faster and faster and faster. And she closes the book. She walks up to you. Now, how tall is Jove? I think Jove's quite tall, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like an average human man, so 6 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he's older, so he's a bit stooped.
Yeah. Nicola stands tall, and I think she's roughly eye to eye with you, actually.
Mm-hmm.
She gets very close to you, and she says, "My sister is dead. My mother is dead. My father is dead. My neighbor is dead. My doctor is dead. My friends are dead. My home is gone. And there is no safe place for me to walk and feel the light of the sun and know that I will not be attacked or killed merely for who I am. And I need you to understand. We are not the Empire. This is the place of temperance. We do not act without thinking," and she looks at Tarai again. "We do not act without thought. We take time and care. I cannot like or trust you this fast. But for this, I will not kill you, and that will have to be enough."
Yeah, during this entire conversation, Jove has tears rolling down his face. He's quiet and listening, but he's crying. And he just looks her in the eye and says, "I thank you for that. I don't expect to earn your trust or your love. That's not what I'm here to do. I can't right these wrongs. All I can do is try to find some answers that'll make sense of some of this. But I appreciate you hearing me out. That was not something you had to do. And I appreciate your pain, and I appreciate your honesty."
Tarai,
Yes.
Walk with me. And
Okay.
she's gonna turn around, and as she says that, the guards behind her kind of move around you all, as if to escort you into the buried river, but certainly not to let you walk freely into it.
Fair.
How are each of you reacting? Shahik, what's going on with Aldred?
Aldred's a little bit in her head. A little bit zoned out.
Okay.
A little like as Nicola talked about everything that's happened to her and people around her, I think she just a little kind of her mind left her body for a moment. She doesn't look like she's there fully physically or mentally, I mean. Once people start moving, then she will just sort of, I guess, automatically start walking with them, but she's still very much like not fully mentally present.
Jove is giving her space. He's not trying to like talk to her or anything. He's just gonna like let her process all that.
I think that the person who notices this the most is probably Seela. Seela, I think you see that Aldred is just out of it, and I think the reason you notice this is you grew up in a village of pacifists who were pretty isolated from the rest of the halflings, but you snuck out every year to see Bravery Day at Carriage Falls. And most of the crowd at that event were happy people who were really celebrating and filled with like the strength of halfling culture, but there were always a few people like Aldred, who had been in villages or towns that had been recently attacked by humans. Sometimes it was part of the war, sometimes it was roving war bands of soldiers who hadn't got the memo that the war was over. Sometimes it was soldiers who knew the war was over, but knew that they could attack halfling villages anyway and no one would stop them. And you've seen people like this, like with this expression. You've seen people at the day at Carriage Falls, like reacting to something happening and just becoming distant. Do you do or say anything as you walk into the city?
Well, at first, actually, I'd like to ask out of character, how like visible or like noticeable are me and the cat?
The ghosts.
Like, ghosts.
They are
just
you-
like,
very, very visible, and no one seems to be surprised or reacting to the fact that you are dead.
okay, so people just treat ghosts like they're just
Not
like
normally. Not
okay.
on the glass, not in any way you've lived, not in the halfling villages.
But
But
here.
Buried River is a slightly different kind of place. And the
Sure.
elves here are very old. And for an elf to be old in this setting, they are a couple hundred years old.
Oh.
This is the kind of river where people do turn into ghosts when they swear this oath, and other people have sworn their oath before you. They've seen ghosts before.
Okay. I mean, I feel like Seela would probably take a moment to think about Aldred, but also she was really distracted by that glimpse of the redhead, and
Yeah.
and knowing that this was a description of who killed the captain. I think Seela even looked over when she saw the glimpse and like looked at the captain, and then I think she's actually going to pull Faye aside, and I think she wants to suggest to Faye that they go toward this building that she saw the mysterious person disappear.
So, as much as I love that, as much as we usually run, I think we're kind of, and she like does a little tap tap on the boat, which sucks because like you can't even make the little. So she's like, I think we're kind of. This is a terrible feeling. In a situation where we can't necessarily do that, we can tell somebody else.
I overhear this, I'm presuming, because of my super
Yes,
hearing.
you have superhero, yeah.
Jesus. Yes, I am gonna just I'm gonna turn around and I sort of snap a little bit back into it. You might see dry tears on my face, but whatever. And I'm just gonna like eyes wide, just go like, we have to tell Nicola. When did you see? Where are they?
How'd you hear that way over there? What are you talking about?
Just yelling.
just like, hello? Was that directed over here?
Sela,
Yeah.
focus. Do you see them now?
Do I? No. No. I caught like a glimpse, and I think Sela's kind of vibrating a little bit with like energy and anxiety, and is like, oh, that's the person that killed Faye. We have to do something.
At this point, you get into the street, and this sapphire stone river, this imitation of the river, is frozen and glittering. On the street here, you can smell something in the air, some kind of incense, a dusty, sweet kind of aroma that permeates the city. And you can notice like little scraps of devastation that indicate the crowd of refugees who were here before. Little blood stains on the stone, scraps of fabric, sort of dust and ash, debris on this beautiful marble kind of stone road. You also all notice that you are being led towards that same temple library building that this person Sela saw was moving towards, the person who killed Faye. This is a very beautiful kind of building with this kind of round inspired golden dome, painted with these columns of red and blue and gold, gilded on every level. Has a name in Kiwi script that I'm not sure any of you can read. And as you walk up front, Nicola is not looking at Tarai, actually. She is very pointedly staring straight ahead as she talks to you. She says, I need you to give me a convincing reason why I don't restrain you and put you under house arrest until I can find your fathers and return you to them.
Okay. Sorry, just taking a drink.
In character. I gotta think. Hold on.
Oh, excuse me. Just a moment. Have we committed a crime?
Did you know? How old are you, Tarai?
I'm young. I would say quite young.
60? Younger than 60?
A few years shy of that, yes.
She kind of like bites the inside of her cheek, and again you see her eyes just glittering with unshed tears. How many elves do you know up there?
None.
To my knowledge, and we are the largest and most well-informed settlement north of the river, you are the youngest person in our culture by several decades. We don't have any children left. And you are asking me, child of my people, to let you pursue what is essentially a self-destructive suicidal mission from which you may never return, willingly, to just watch the last of our youth leave us for a place that we cannot follow.
We were at the floating gardens when it was attacked. There was a ship, and there was a human who said it was their mission to be the first human to reach the source. I don't know how successful they're going to be. I don't know what resources they have. We have at least one more piece of the map that they don't have. So, the options are, would you rather I play it safe with my crew and me, or do you want to live with the knowledge that a human has reached the source? A human with a human empire ship, I should add as well.
No one has ever reached the source. It is guarded by the crystal nets, a labyrinthine series of tunnels ruled over by the Hierophant, which change and move and bury you and drown you, trapped miles below the earth. You cannot turn around, you cannot find your way back, you cannot climb out. It crushes you.
I don't claim to know a lot about elf culture. My parents didn't tell me too much about this place. But we have 2 pieces of a map of the crystal nets. I know that you have a very big library here. And I would wager that there's at least 1 extra piece of map in that library. So you have the option to help us get there a little bit safer. Or, like you said, you can shackle me up and send me back to my parents, who I believe would find this all very amusing.
Part of me wants to do it just to see the look on Lamai's face.
I think Lamai would not be surprised.
You are a lot like him.
There has been a lot of death today.
I noticed. It's not unusual to see spirits walking among the living, especially not here where we have lost so many. And so many of our people have sworn to find the source, to find some power or knowledge or secret or lost loved one that will somehow make things right. And so many have sworn to find the sea, to find some new place, some freedom, some different horizon to which we could sail. And so many have returned to us, reduced and trapped and mourning and walking forever in the tide, slowly going mad. It is a terrible thing to not only lose someone you love, but to watch them lose everything that they were, pledged to a promise they could not fulfill.
Surely there is something in the trying. Surely the hope of things changing is better, right? Than staying down here in the dark.
I want you to give me a tongues roll, please, Amber.
Okay.
12 plus your tongues.
D12, did you say?
Yes.
Okay. Can I use charm?
It doesn't really do anything here, but you've got 3 substitute rolls. Give me a roll.
That's true. Yeah, fair enough.
Got this, good eye. Come on.
Okay, so that was a 1. I'm gonna I'm gonna switch it out with the. I'm gonna switch it out with the 9 and get a 17.
Good lord!
I'm really good with the tongues. Sorry, there was a better way of saying that. I'm so sorry.
No, that was the best way to say it. That was the right way.
Woo! I can't breathe. Okay.
I'm not surprised from Try, honestly. But seems like a giver.
Yeah. All right, refocus. Oh man, we were given a briefing about not making this an adult stream, and boy howdy, we walked that line. Okay. Try. Here's what happens. That glimmer of the one is you see as you're walking towards this library. Now, most people right now are in hiding. They're in the buildings. They didn't know what the ship was. Most people immediately locked up and went inside, battened down the doors, and got ready for an attack. So this is a bit of a ghost town right now. But speaking of ghosts, as you're walking down the street, and it's strange, down here, there's this greenery. It must be magically enchanted. There's no sunlight. But there's this greenery kind of overgrowing a lot of the buildings, flowers draping down, vines. You notice someone step out from behind a building. She looks younger than you. She looks a lot like the woman walking next to you. She has the same jaw, same nose. Her eyes, however, are just flat. There's nothing in them. And as you move past her, you realize that she is a ghost. She is dead. But she's not dead in the way that Faye and Seela are. She doesn't still have her mind. And as you notice her kind of step out from behind the building, she pauses, frowns, looks confused, turns, walks back to where she came from, and then walks out, pauses, frowns, looks confused, turns back, walks to where she came from. I think with your 17 tongues, you can recognize that this, if not Nicola's daughter, is certainly someone very closely related to her, someone who has been dead for a long, long time, and someone who has haunted this corner of the street that Nicola walks down every day for decades, because she swore an oath to find the source, and she failed.
Hey, do the rest of us see this too?
No, they are walking at the front, and I'm gonna come to some of the stuff that you all are seeing in a second. Although, actually, to be fair, Seela does have super sight, so Seela probably sees it.
Okay.
Because you have real good vision. But just before we resolve your reaction to it, that was what would have been your failure. But try, as you walk, Nicola, out of habit, just turns her face away from the direction of that particular ghost. She just moves her chin a little bit, looking in the other direction at the other buildings. And you make your point about how you need to try anyway. And you see the shadow of a smile pass over her face, even as the corners of her eyes tighten, as if she's heard that before, as if someone said that to her once before, a long time ago, and convinced her to let them go. And her shoulders drop a bit, and you get to the bottom of the steps leading up to the library. She turns to face you, and she looks so sad looking at you. And I think this time she does reach out to touch the side of your face. Do you let her?
Yes.
She touches the side of your face, and her thumb kind of rubs over your cheek. She says, I have missed your fathers terribly. And it is strange to be haunted by them now. And her hand moves to clasp your shoulder, and she squeezes it firmly. But it is good to know that they have raised such a brave sailor to face the world and all its wonders. We will help you, and I will grieve for you. And she steps back to let you go up the steps into the library.
I think Tarai's just gonna sort of bow reverently. And yeah, just thank you. Thank you. And then I think is gonna head up the stairs.
On the way, on this walk, whilst Nicola and Tarai are having this conversation, Sela, again, I am going to come back to you, I promise. Just one other detail that happens. Jove, as you are walking, I'm not going to make you roll for it. There's all of this foliage, right? It's all overgrown. And there are these mosaics everywhere. And in one of these alcoves that you walk past, you see a mosaic. And it's just for a second, and it's overgrown with greenery. It clearly hasn't been tended to in some time. It's clearly been forgotten. And it is a beaten and battered and old image of two figures, two humans, shepherding other people, elves and Kiwi and halfling, toward the buried river. It looks as if it was made some time ago, but not made at the same time as the rest of the city. It's newer than that. It wasn't made by the Kiwi. It was made at some point after the Kiwi left. I think you can see it's a detail in the clothes, a ribbon in the hair, a piece of jewelry. You know who these two humans are. And you can extrapolate that someone here a long time ago knew what they did and wanted to commemorate it for all the people who made it this far, for the people who actually got to safety. But that too has been forgotten. Sela, how do you react to this ghost?
Sela wants to go over to the ghost and address the ghost. They're gonna say hello.
She keeps sleeping. She doesn't react to you at all.
Can ghosts touch each other, or are they also not able?
Not really. You can kind of pass through her. It's a little bit like putting your hand through like silty water. There's like a slight resistance, but it's not as tangible as touching another person.
Okay, I think Sela wants to try and do that. Like she's just gonna hold her hand out to try to like intercept as this ghost does the loop.
The ghost's image kind of flickers, ripples like water disturbed, reforms itself, keeps looping.
Okay, I wanna try something because one of the ghost abilities that I chose was grant peace to a restless ghost.
Cool, very cool. We have two generous sailors in our group, and I love you both. Okay.
Same brain.
I would love you to do that. That would be beautiful. So the way that this works, Ella looks up the rules real quick. Because again, I did write this game, but it's changed since I wrote it, and I don't want to get the details wrong. I'm trying really hard to stick to the book because Sasha and Johnny, who made this game with me, were like, Ella, every time you do a stream of Upriver Downriver, you don't really play Upriver Downriver, you play your own weird version.
Oh no!
I felt so attacked that like I've been trying so hard.
I mean, we all play our own versions of like D&D and stuff too, though. That's the thing.
I mean, yeah, that's the
guideline.
All the homebrew in our heart, man.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm so determined to like follow the rules and prove that I can. Yeah, so on a roll with your tongue stat, on a difficult success, you enable the spirit to pass on.
Okay.
So give me a d12 plus your tongues.
Question real quick, because Xenia, it looked like you were probably gonna be doing the same with Faye, like you wanted to try to do.
Oh no! I was just like no, that was the connection of like no, we got the same thing, and like I'm proud of you, like that was a nod of approval.
Okay.
Plus, you also have the super sight, so you would have seen it first.
Right, that's true. Yeah. Okay, here we go. My tongues is my worst stat, but we're still trying this, right? Like Sela is like, okay, so that's a 9.
9 total.
9 total.
Okay,
Ooh.
so a difficult success is a 14. Other players, specifically Try, can substitute rolls if you would like to.
What is your tongues?
2.
Can I help?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's my
Well,
it's my worst
Do,
stat.
do,
Can-
do you
can
want
I?
help?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was
two-
trying to
are you two
figure
to-
out.
Yeah, are you
if-
two together and away from us, or are we all together? I'm confused.
No,
Are
so
you
yeah,
separate?
like-
Because
No,
I
no,
had
no.
like pulled Faye, like we're all together in a group, but I had kind of pulled Faye back, so we were like not.
I can.
So I was next to Faye because I had just finished telling
so
her
I
about
need to interject at this point just to organize some logistics and get us all on the same page. You are all together walking through the city of the Buried River. This is the only place where Faye and Seela are able to get off the ship. They can only ever be on the water. If they're not on the water or on a river in some way, they can't exist. They can't be on land anymore. But luckily for them, the Buried River is literally inside the river, so they can walk down the street. You have been escorted by an honor guard. Well, not an honor guard. You've been escorted by a guard of elves who are kind of making sure that you don't do anything funny in the Buried River. Tarai and Nicola have this conversation at the front of the group, and the only person that notices this ghost coming past is Seela. Jove is distracted. Faye and Aldred, you can decide for me what you're doing, but neither of you has superhuman sight, which is what means that Seela is able to notice this ghost at all. What I will say, however, is if I recall correctly, Amber, you do have a role that would mean that Seela could succeed at this.
I do have a 12, yes.
So what I'm going to suggest, if it's all right with you, just to manage the logistics of what's going on here, is that we let Tarai give Seela this 12, and then Seela can do this herself. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lilia, is that okay with you? Or would
Yes.
you prefer to do something else?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm into that. Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Amber, because I
Get it,
know
girl.
that role could have been really good.
So he said 2. I was like, what?
We're just so darn altruistic.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna explain how Tarai is able to help in a moment. What does it look like, Seela, when you grant peace to a restless ghost?
I think Seela actually it's similar to the way that Seela communes with the river, which is that she like sits down cross-legged, and it's almost like a meditation, and then she kind of, like, as much as she can, not really in a mystical way, but like in the way that, like, real actual thoughts and prayers, right? When you're really like trying to push your empathy and sympathy towards someone else. That's what she's doing.
So I think that I know exactly how this happens. The ghost stops in her loop. She kind of pauses instead of turning back around. And her eyes kind of fill in with a translucent color. And she looks down at you. She seems surprised. For a moment, you get this powerful smell of, like, deep underground, like stone and caves and dust and wet rock. And then she turns and she sees Nicola. She sees her mother. And she sees the exact moment when Nicola reaches out and puts a hand on Tarai's shoulder. And her expression goes from one of pain to seeing Nicola putting her hand on Tarai's shoulder. This ghost, her expression just kind of relaxes into one of relief. And her shoulders settle. And she just disappears like mist in the wind.
And I think Seela, like, whispers goodbye and safe journey.
You have no idea where she goes. You all get to the library. Aldred, you can hear people ahead of you. In fact, what you can specifically hear is people running echoing, shouting, and then people getting onto a ship and that ship moving, sailing somewhere in front of you on water down somehow. You get up into the library. Faye, you are drawn almost magnetically to a shelf. This library is ridiculous. It's huge, it's massive, it's beautiful. It's full of dust and darkness. There are shelves reaching up to the ceiling, and the ceiling is easily 40 feet high. These shelves are full of so many different kinds of books, like printed books, but also manuscripts and scrolls. There are boxes for various kinds of scrolls of different materials. You breathe and you can just breathe in the smell of centuries of secrets. And you get inside, it's cool. There are these frescoes and mosaics, these beautiful, colorful, painted surfaces. And Faye, your ghost is just tugged like an anchor on a ship towards one of these shelves where there is this faintly glowing kind of violet light, like kind of emerging from one of these kind of box shelves, this rolled up scroll framed by two pieces of silver, but inside is some kind of very thin piece of crystal, a lot like the one that you found in Belgrane's shop.
Still nailing his ghost.
Grab.
I
I was like, wait, can I grab things? Yes, I can. I remember this.
Try.
you can grab things. So yeah, you pick it up, and when you do, Faye, you are a riverfolk person, and as a riverfolk person, you've got this kind of better fish, colorful, fish scaled, big like fins, like almost like a mane of color around you. Your scales, you've always been proud of your scales. They shine in a way that especially to riverfolk is very attractive, but to many people it's beautiful. And it's never really been something that you thought twice about. But when you pick up this scroll, there's this just tickle of lightning, this just like trickle of light and magic that traces up your arms, and various scales on your arms, you suddenly realize as they're lit up by magic, are of a slightly different texture to the rest. More crystalline, more crystal. And something in this scroll recognizes you as you recognize it, and you just hear in the back of your mind a familiar melody, a melody that your mother used to sing to you when you went to sleep, almost as if the scroll is greeting you somehow, and then that fades and the light fades and your arms are back to normal, but maybe you're a little bit more aware of these slightly shinier scales than you were before.
Oh my.
Something is happening. Nicola. I'm hearing people screaming. Why are people screaming? What is happening?
What do you mean? And she kind of like snaps her fingers at some of the guards. They charge up into the library. They run forwards and they run towards the back of the library. So the library is built like a wheel. Like these shelves all kind of come out like spokes, pushing towards the walls and reaching up to the ceiling. There's this big mosaic in the center of the room. And you run towards the back, and at the back there is this huge, massive stone door, or at least there used to be. There isn't anymore. It was blown up. There is like shards of burnt stone, fragments of stone kind of all around. There is some kind of magic dying, fizzling on the stone, whatever enchantment used to be here. Behind the door is a shrine. The statue of the shrine has been knocked over. A bowl of offerings has been knocked over and shattered. And beyond that shrine, there is a fountain and then a series of natural caves. And Nicola looks at Tarai, draws her sword, and I don't think she actually knows what to say, or like she can't decide whether she wants to stop you or not, so she just charges forward to try and deal with the problem, and the elves go with her. What do you all do?
I'm running after Nicola.
Yeah, I think Tarai's just sort of going to turn to everyone and then just kind of take their bow and just go, okay then, and then runs into the cave.
Oh goddamn! Humans ruining everything. Limbs comes out of them.
I'm gonna give you the most side eye I've ever had.
And what I'm going to say as we draw towards the end of our stream, we're not quite at the end yet, but we need time for communions and navigation. Here's what happens. You all kind of dive into the caverns, and you actually don't have to roll for it because Nicola's leading you, so hey, lucky for you all.
Yay!
There was a test here that you got to shortcut because you have someone with you. But Nicola kind of leads you down like this kind of like various parts of these natural stone caves. They are dripping with water, but they are not flooded. And you all feel something in this place that is angry, something that is outraged. You find your way at last to the rocky pebble shore of an underground river, a river that is going just into darkness, into tunnels ahead. And what you all see as that river disappears is the human imperial ship, the Treasure, kind of chugging down into the tunnels ahead of you, just in front of you, getting down towards the source. The other thing that you notice as it disappears out of sight is that to the east there is a large cave, and that cave mouth looks out on the river, and there is sort of the same magic that is protecting everything else from drowning protects this cave mouth, but you can see past the cave mouth. You can actually see your ship. You can see the Prestige floating in the water, moored to a jetty, but not too far, in a way that you could sail her to this cave entrance and then onto this river and into the underground. Nicola looks at you all. We don't have a ship that we can afford to lose. But
We do.
Yeah, I think Tarai's just gonna sort of look, being like, "Don't worry,
We'll do our best,
we're on
man.
this. We're on it."
We'll do our best.
And she looks desperately torn again, but then nods and waves a hand. And as she does, there's this ripple of magic. And all of you feel that something has changed in your necks and your lungs. Or actually, I say all of you, our two ghosts don't. But the three people still alive, Katie, Jove, Katie is here now. Jove.
I am magic too.
Jove, Tarai, and Aldred feel something in them change. Aldred, in particular, as a doctor, you're very aware that something has changed in the way that you breathe. And Nicola kind of like backs off to make room for you, gestures to the cave entrance. Go! Then, now.
I think Tarai is gonna, first of all, kind of take a step back and sort of gesture for everyone to go first, to basically get the ship ready. And then, as everyone's kind of heading off, I think Tarai's just gonna turn to Nicola and go, "Until we meet again," and then head off.
You still beat Jove to the ship because it takes him.
Just running past Jove.
Yeah, look, I'll be there in a second.
It's all right, you left Hearth on, you're good.
So what you
back his
actually...
face probably at the ramp, still just like gesturing for people to go on. It's an old habit.
So what you actually do is you can't run from here. You're on the riverbed, and your ship is a 6-story building up in the water, and you're between a cave and the buildings. There is maybe half a kilometer between you and your ship. You have to swim. And the thing that Nicola did to you was give you all the ability to breathe water, those of you still alive, at least for now. What you what you do need to do, all of you, even the ghosts, is give me a d12 plus your swords. Tell me what you get.
Can I use dexterity?
And actually, this is a swimming roll, so unless you have the knack swimming, you are rolling at disadvantage.
Oh, Joe.
Oh.
Wait, did I?
Joe was about to like look back and be like, "Don't worry, like I'll take care of him," and then he's gonna fucking whiff it getting into the water and die. Oh, cool. Cool.
I lost my swimming, right? Let me see.
Am I allowed to re-roll this test?
You are? How are you reroll? Oh, you're using your ability. Yes, you are.
That's
Yes.
right.
What's the success again? Sorry.
I have not told you. I just want to know what your rolls are.
Right. Well, then I'm going to use my last roll, my last path roll there.
Am I allowed to re-roll this twice?
No, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to reroll twice. Yes,
Question.
Thania.
Since I got my path back, does that mean I get swimming back?
You do.
Okay, cool. Because that was a 12, which means with that swords. Oh God, what's 12 plus 9? I forgot.
21.
21. 21.
Well, I've got bad news for you because I got a 12 and a 1.
Hey.
At disadvantage.
no.
So that's a
So
2
sad.
total. That's a 2 total.
Deeply, deeply sad.
Yeah, he's still just trying to get in, and it's like, how do you carry a cane while also swimming? Can't lose the cane. It's a whole thing.
Put it in your mouth.
I
what
put
did
it
the
in my
rest-
mouth. It sucks. My
What did the
teeth
rest
are
of our group get? Lily, Amber, and Shahik.
I got 18.
Lily?
Well, I had to roll a disadvantage, so I got a 6. But luckily, my source is an 8, so I got a 14.
Okay, alright, so we've got a 2, a 6, a 17, a 21, and a 14. Is that right?
I got 18.
18, sorry, thank you. Okay, so the good news is that 2 of you got legendary successes and 1 of you got a very difficult success. So the catastrophic failures of the other 2 are largely neutralized by the group. What I would like to know is what that looks like. So you basically walk up to this wall of water, and as you step into it, you immediately have to start to swim. There is an immense pressure on your bodies that is crushing and painful. You are being driven into the riverbed by the sheer force of water above you. Every single time you try to swim, this isn't like normal swimming at surface level water. It is like weightlifting. It is physically strenuous. It is very, very cold for all of those of you still living. This is a cold that is paralyzing your limbs. It is making it hard to breathe with just the shock of the cold. You are being put into a rigid physical position. So how do Tarai and Faye make sure that the rest of their crew gets there safely? And Seela is okay, actually. Seela, the minimum pass was 14, and Seela got that, so Seela's alright, but Jove and Aldred are not.
Classic
You can't,
tag
like-
team, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, can you grab? Can you hold on to ghosts?
Not easily, but I might say that since you've got a legendary success, I'll do some magic if you tell me what you want to happen.
So, Zania, obviously, like if you have other ideas. So, like obviously, Tarai doesn't like swimming, but it's slightly buoyed by the fact that they can now breathe they can breathe water, which obviously makes things significantly less scary.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that so Tarai is swimming through this, is kind of grabs Jove. But if we're going with the rule that ghosts can't hold on to things, I like the idea that Faye is like coaching them through this the whole time.
I was literally gonna say.
stroke, breathe, stroke, that kind of thing.
And like, it's also, I think that would also help Jove. He'd be like, "Oh, is that how? Okay." You know,
which makes sense because she is the strongest swimmer.
Yeah,
She would totally be.
She's team coach. Yeah, swim coach. Let's go.
I love
She's
that.
like,
So,
Come on,
I'm
let's
gonna-
go. Water.
I'm gonna say that's enough. We've got 30 minutes left of our stream. I think that, like, you are able to get to the ship safely. However, Aldred, you are very, 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 very cold. And at the start of next session, you're going to be rolling at a disadvantage as you recover from like what is borderline hypothermia. And Jove, the pressure of the water, it just re-breaks a bit of your leg. One of those old injuries. You get out there and the bone just fractures. It is not made to be put under this much pressure, and when it is, you just like the reason that you can't swim is one of your legs is pretty much out of commission.
Am I able to heal myself somehow?
You will be next session. You get back to the ship. You are able to move her from the mooring. She keeps this kind of enchantment of magic around her. You get her into the underground river. You approach the caves and the tunnels. Now, you are not in the crystal nets. The crystal nets, famously, crystal tunnels glowing with magic. These are just normal stone cave tunnels. You don't know where you are. You only know that you are miles underground and underwater. You know that the human Imperial ship is ahead of you and they think they know where the source is. You also know that everyone who has ever tried to find the source has died or just never returned. With that in mind, we've got communions and navigation rolls and sign-off. So what we're going to do is, like before, your communions, I'm just going to draw you a card if you want to do a communion. I'm going to tell you what you get, and we will describe how that communion happens later on the next stream. We are then going to attempt the navigation roll. The Crystal Nets is a level 4 location. You have to get 4 4s in order to get there. Otherwise, you get lost.
Come on, Tudor,
and
come on.
Put you somewhere else.
We're so close.
You are so close. Would anyone like to commune with the river? Casey,
I would.
Lily, yeah.
I would too.
Shahik, cool. Not Amber or Zania?
I'm okay.
I'm good. I got my magic map, man. Let's go.
Cool.
I think she's still riding off that high of like, whoa, I'm like a rainbow fish. Let's go.
I like how our captain and our first mate are the ones who are like, nah, I'm good.
They got the same. They're too busy they're too busy celebrating because Surai actually went through the water. Which, let's go. High five.
I'm trying to high five and it's just not working.
That's
Like,
She's just like, no, just. But come on.
Okay,
let's do it.
So, Casey, first of all, Jove.
Oh, I don't like that face.
No, this is a good face.
Oh, okay.
That's a good face. Okay.
You got the blessing of the lovers.
Oh.
Now, the reason that I'm making a face is that there are 2 blessings for the lovers. There's 2 blessings for all of the blessings. One for people who are following the path, and one for people who aren't.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna quickly. So conscious of time, it's bleeding away on me.
I get a magical girlfriend.
This cute little old lady.
Your blessing is, once a session, the player's character may magically convince a violent foe to lay down their weapons and negotiate, regardless of how convicted their enemy was of their actions. But the reason that I was emotional about it is because a gunner of the lovers who draws their path when they commune with the river gains the power to end one war, or walk freely. And I think, given this stream, and given who you are, and given the story you've had, I might give you the path blessing of the lovers instead, because I think of all the people who can actually bring this to an end,
Oh, hell yeah.
Jove might be the right person.
But I have to do it.
You do have to do it, and
have
it's going
to
to
do
happen
it.
at some point next session, but
Okay.
Oh
you
my
have
god,
that
Joe! Joe, that's our boy!
Okay, next up, we are going to Sela. Sela, you gain the blessing of justice. Within the next session, the player's character discovers a truth they have been seeking or receives the opportunity to bring justice upon those who have wronged them. We will see how that resolves.
Okay.
And finally,
I don't like the odds of this.
It's
okay
if
if I've survived 2 curses, so can you.
it's true. Finally, Shahik, Aldred gets the blessing of the sun. The player's character may survive one blow or mishap that would otherwise kill them.
Rad.
Yeah.
All right, we're nearly at the end. It's time for a navigation roll.
Right.
Soraya, are you doing the navigation roll?
I think so.
The amount of river sense that you are rolling with is 16.
16.
fours.
Amazing. Okay.
You're looking for
16
four
fours. You've got this.
Right. So rather than doing it in sets of 2 like I did last time, I'm just going to do one big online one,
That's a good idea.
just for the tension and time.
We
more
only
than anything
have
else.
so much time. We can't roll dice for 20
Yeah.
minutes.
I can't go through that suspense again like last time where it was like, oh, there's almost a 4, there's almost 4. I was like,
Okay. So how many 4s do we need?
16.
What?
Wait,
No,
what?
sorry. How many 4s
Oh,
do we need to
16,
roll?
16.
Oh, sorry, you need 4.
Okay.
I was like, well, that's a critical success. We're gonna fail that. Just
We now know why no one gets to the source.
statistically, yeah.
Yeah.
DM's a meanie.
oh, come on, please tell me it's 4.
We have rolled 3 4s.
Oh my gosh.
No.
It's 3 4s. There's. Yep.
No,
Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna remind us that 2 of our players have an additional communion with the river. The blessings of the river are many and various, and among them are blessings which grant automatic successes on navigation rolls and automatic successes. Would anyone like to re-commune with the river?
I'll do it, dude. I'll do it.
You guys do it, and if neither of you get it, then I'll use my star blessing to do it again.
Okay.
Pick me. I'm famous for my
Let's
blessings.
go. Let's go.
All right. Oh boy.
Oh, come on.
If you get another curse, I swear to God.
It's not. I want a free blessing if I get another curse.
you did. I'm just gonna ignore that one. Because
It's probably instant death. It's probably instant death.
It was probably, yeah. It's like the tower.
Instant death. No, it was death reversed, which instantly kills you. And I think with a ghost that would mean that just your character would die, but we
Yep.
have a safety thing about sudden character death, and I'm not gonna do that now, so we're gonna discard
you.
that.
Not with
Thank
5
you,
minutes
thank
left
you,
in the
Ella.
stream,
Thank you, Ella.
dang.
Thank you.
You don't need to thank me for respecting our safety tools. That is the bare minimum I can do as a GM. Okay.
Okay, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
Blessing, please. Please.
Okay, interesting.
What's that mean?
Blessing of the Hanged Man.
Ooh.
Oh.
The blessing of the Hanged Man is interesting for us right now. Because what it does is, beep, 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 beep. Give me a moment. Let me get the text of the
Yeah,
book.
please
Okay.
take your time.
What it does is
Amber, if I could just grab you for
Drum
like,
roll,
could I
please.
I would in a heartbeat.
If the crew agree, the player may choose to forego the next navigation roll and allow their next location to be determined by the river. If they do, there will be an opportunity waiting there for them. So what the Blessing of the Hanged Man says is, if you let the river decide where you go, something good will happen. But you have to let go of control of sailing the ship and let the river guide you.
I mean, let's all pick cards first, and then you can decide if you want to.
No. I think that's interesting. I think that's interesting because
That is
the map.
interesting.
We've got a magic map
Yep.
that brought us here. So
There's every chance, but also I bet you that metagaming Ella is gonna flip a goddamn coin. So maybe the magic doesn't help.
you know what? I think narratively that's fun.
That is fun.
I will say, not to like cut in completely, but like, listen, Riverfolk do got that spirituality and trust thing, and she's
Yeah.
always been something. With,
And you were
no.
like, we're going to get there. That you've been
Right.
like the most we are going there out of all of us for
Yes.
sure.
Mhm.
So
But also, we are racing like an Imperial Guard ship.
We are.
through the
Worst
sword.
case scenario, they get lost with us.
Yep. Or they get there first, or there's so many things that could happen. So I like the idea of leaving it to chance, because again, when has the Prestige ever had a plan?
We've always been gamblers. We've always been believers. We've always been dreamers.
Yep.
Midnight Live Ramblers. Yeah.
Okay, in that case, try.
Yes.
You need to let go of the wheel. When you do, it starts to shift back and forth, driven by the force of the water as it hits your rudder. Faye, are you at the front of the ship? Are you on the bow? Are you in the middle? Where are you?
I want her to be on the front.
Faye, all of you can see sort of glitters in the light. In a way, all of you will have seen riverfolk before, and it's not exactly like the way that riverfolk scales normally work. She glitters, even as a ghost. The ship creaks onward, and for a moment, like, it just stills. It just becomes calm. There's nothing. It's sort of amazing that you're moving at all, really. Being underground and all. And then there's this tug. All of you feel it. It's the same tug that you felt when you swore your oath. The same thing deep in your gut, at the base of your spine. This just pull. This innate, instinctive, deep, primal pull. You are pulled onwards. The ship starts to move, and it picks up speed, and it picks up speed, and it picks up speed, until white water is running alongside either side of the ship, until the smell of wet stone is overpowering, until the ceilings of the cave get lower and lower and lower, until the ship is almost completely crammed in. And the last thing that happens, and where we're going to leave this stream, is your ship, I think Aldred hears it first, the crashing of water. Seela sees it first, that this darkness, that isn't a continuation of the river, that's a lip, that's a cliff, and then your ship topples over the top of a waterfall into the darkness below. And we'll resolve what happened next time on Upriver Downriver. Okay.
Up waterfall, down waterfall. Let's go. Thanks, son.
We are at the end of our stream. Thank you all for watching. We are, I realize, a little behind time. We're just going to do some quick goodbyes and then we'll be done. Thank you very much. Let's do some outros, please. Starting with Lily. Where can we find you? What you working on?
Hello, I am Lily. I'm the scribe in chat and on Discord. I am Elise on Life on Twitter, which is where I usually spend most of my time, but I'm trying to swap over to Blue Sky, where I'm also Elise on Life there. I am in 2 podcasts. One is called Blurred on the Street, which I actually edit and co-host with 2 other people, and we are 3 Black women and femmes who are talking about being in geeky and nerdy spaces, and we also do like current events as well. I'm also in Misfits of Space, which is an actual play podcast. We have done Star Wars FFG, we have done Monster Hearts, and we are now going to be starting to air episodes of Scum and Villainy. So come check us out there. I have a couple of other things in the works as well. But mostly I'll probably talk about it on my Twitter for now. So check that out.
Right, amazing. Next up, Amber.
Hello, my name is Amber. You can find me pretty much everywhere as Tin Can Audio. I make music. I made the soundtrack for this game, which I really love and really proud of. And I am here on Twitch on Monday nights from 8 p.m. UK time making music. Yeah, I think I'll just stop that there. So it's music and podcasty stuff, but here on Twitch every Monday doing music stuff.
Cool. Zania.
So hi, I am Zania Fernandez. I am Zanianator online pretty much everywhere, but I'm mainly on YouTube. I'm a D&D animator, so you can find my series, which is called Shadow Puppet Theater, over on YouTube. I swear it's a very fun D&D story. I'm just recounting basically my 5-year campaign from pretty much session 0 onwards, so we're gonna get some cool new episodes. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube. Sorry, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram. Pretty much, if you type in Zanianator anywhere, like, you'll find me.
Amazing. Katie.
Hi. You can find me definitely not chasing waterfalls, but you can also find me on Discord. I guess I'm technically on Twitter, but I don't know how to use it. Plus, I don't know. Discord, Instagram, etc. TikTok sometimes as Critical Spark 20. You can also find me here doing various Girls Run These World things. I'm also we've got a collab in the works with Fablemancers and Another World. We're doing some creepy, spooky Halloween stuff. Some nightmare fuel for you all. That'll be coming out at the end of October, probably, hopefully. That's the goal, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, and that's about it. Drink water.
Yeah. And last but not least, Shahik.
Yeah, hi again. I'm Sharik, or Bye at this point. You can, gosh, just find me on, I guess, Blue Sky, which is just my name. I'm not doing any other things except for just like working as an editor, so hire me, haha, XOXO. And that's it.
Amazing, thank you. I am Ella Watts, my pronouns are she, her. I'm a podcast director, producer, voice director. Generally, I wrote this game. You can find me on social media at GEJ Watts, and I would love it if you considered getting a copy of Upriver Downriver from the MacGuffin store as a PDF or as a physical hardback book. It's nice and pretty. Thank you, Amber. You're watching
Always
Girls
the hype
Run These
man.
Worlds. Yeah, they are honestly, they're the best.
I can't wait to get that.
You're watching Girls Run These Worlds. On Thursdays, we've got Alien Destroyer of Worlds, sponsored by Free League. Join Game Mother Fiona and her crack team of colonial marines as she throws them through a gauntlet of one hell after another. It's intense, it's really cool, it's got Shamini Bundell in it, which means I like it a lot. It's rad to watch it. Then also, Cryptid Creeks hit Kickstarter on September 5th, a couple days ago. It is currently live now. It's really cute. It's this kind of monster of the week, Gravity Falls inspired, like all ages role-playing game. And Girls Run These Worlds have cooked up something with Hatchling Games, the publishers of that game, to showcase this adventurous new system. You can check out the YouTube exclusive with JC Darcy, who we love, and everyone else who we love, Liv Kennedy, Gust, Ida, and Mo. Then back to Kickstarter to get your hands on the game yourself. Finally, consider throwing us a Twitch subscription, renewing your free Prime sub, or dropping us a couple of bucks on our Ko-fi. It all goes to this incredible cast, woo! And the entire team that helped us get here. They are all really cool. Our producer Annika is fantastic. Please do check it out.
And we're all poor. Please help us.
We're a lot of like quick, disabled, many things creatives, and there's a certain just reality of life in that.
Please.
I would like money, please.
Alrighty. To finish off, we are doing a raid at Quest Junkies UK. I believe that will be in the chat. I super understand Twitch. But please go support and be respectful audience and stick around for more than the first couple minutes. You might see something that you like and enjoy. Thank you very much for watching the stream or the video on YouTube if you've watched it back after. And thank you to my wonderful cast. Alrighty, let's go. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Wave till you're dead.
I'm already dead. What do you want from me?
I really have to pee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Every one of you just want to grab a quick break.
Yep. I think these guys. I also need to go pee. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm just gonna go quickly.